to me.
His word and the Bible.
So listen to me. Listen to me.
It is a metaphoric
Existence persists as long as we have language. If we cannot communicate with each other, we cannot survive. He mana ko kaleo. Na o he leo. O he ola.
Without language,
we have nothing. We must see to it that our language survives like the past through flowers. Ua ola ka ola lo mai ka pai kuana o nā pua. E hiki nā pua e ola, mai ka pai kuana o ka paulalo. So our children can survive. For the passing of language.
Love your wife. Even Christ also loved the church and gave himself for us. Something is given to believe in God and our mind. That is the building of our God. I'm sure you all know that this is incident and marriage.
Give it up for the 2008 Youth Speaks Hawaii Poetry Slam team. Jamaica, Itai, even Will joined them in the back. As well as Jamaica's dad, John Osorio, with the chant. Oh no. Yeah! It's going down, waves of words. How you guys doing?
Everybody practice their poker face today, please. We need to keep...
I'm gonna move this, and as I move this, I am going to tell you about this next performance.
Thank you.
As you can see, this spoken word, these poems, they mean something. And we recently got a connection with, we being Youth Speaks Hawaii, recently connected with the Hawaii State Coalition Against Domestic Violence.
As a mother of 3 younger children,
they are having a conference in
August,
and we were thinking about how are ways that we can communicate an important story and an important issue through spoken word poetry. And so we kind of have been tampering with this idea of spoken word theater. Tonight, you are going to see the first time ever that these 4 amazing women are going to present. They're going to show you this art form in its newest way. They've never done this before. I've been helping them throughout this process, and they're just going to come up here and rock an excerpt of what's going to become in August 3rd. So is that all right? Before I get them on, I just will say that I'm very proud of the process in which we're going through about this conversation around domestic violence. Whether that's, understanding domestic violence firsthand, not understanding it at all, or witnessing it and not knowing what to do. I think our process is an honest process as poets. As we explore ways that we can help communicate this domestic violence situation through spoken word poetry. So, the 4 is Jocelyn, Kayla, Cecilia, Maria. They are 4 young, talented spoken word artists who are going to give you a sample of what spoken word theater is going to look like. So, y'all ready? I'm going to move this because I'm excited. I'm excited. Hold on. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this so we can have sound. Okay, there's that.
Peaceful people.
That's not in the way, right? You guys can see. Okay.
Present ourselves well.
They ain't got a name. They just, their face is infinite. They're just super fresh. Give it up for the spoken word crew.
I am a native Hawaiian and national TV spokesman for United Healthcare and a registered voter. I oppose HawaiiSB1 and ask for you to vote no. We love our mahus and they are our family and our ohana. Kapunas respect our keikis through our mahus, and our keikis respect our kapuna. Our keikis are precious. Marriage is a sacred and holy and separate from state and church. If you were a church, then you would define marriage. But we all know you are not a church. You do not lead spiritually or rest with the Spirit. There is a foreign terminology in the Bible. Therefore, our cases are homeless gay Hawaiians in Hawaii. Host. You take our kindness and our land and you pollute it and make it violent. You take our spirit, our mana, our power and make it violent. You take our aloha and marriage and you defile it. Now you take our Hawaii and you defile it. Shame on all of you here. Now we know you defiled Hawaii. This is the second illegal overthrow. Mana au kukai, no integrity, the untrustworthy government in Hawaii. Now we will initiate homosexuals to come and molest and rape, or who may have been molested and raped to come to Hawaii and take their money. And homosexuals with negative and predators attitude could easily molest and rape our children, likely to increase crime, reports, greed, and money. Now eat your money.
Do you feel good? Why do you tell me you love me after every time? You care about the ones we destroyed. Will you ever learn from this? Do you feel bad? Where is the courage to stop playing victim? Can you leave me alone? Do you know how to love any other way? When did you first see this? What are you neglecting? How can I love the ones I love? What is your healing process? How can I stop this person out, please? When will you let go?
No. Could you please escort this person?
Why are you still here? How do I help you? How is it done? When is enough enough?
Okay, next testifier, please.
There is nothing more plainer than a wall.
My name is Harry Kumaro.
Except for maybe it was in school. I had never seen so many patterns in my life. Every slap to the wall on the back of her head fired patterns of questions in mind like, what time is it? I could have sworn the sun made its daily route this morning. I know this kind of thing only happened on the dark side of the drapes, but not in school. Or how old am I? I know most women, they carry their age the way they carry their wallets. Hidden but close by, but at that moment I have been wrong. There is no way we share the same birth year. She has far more patterns than I do.
Our job is to make sure that all of our ships and subs are repaired so that people are fit to fight. We do this by making sure two basic things. Repairs are done verbatim compliance, meaning what is written, and physically checking that there are no flaws in the repairs. We're trained to detect cracks, and we're trained to detect cracks in welds, look for missing bolts, find foreign material, and there should be clean systems. If we find these things, if we find anything out of compliance, we're not trained to go on our gut and to see what happens. We're not trained to stop. We're not trained to work off verbal instructions. It must be clear and written. Imagine if we treated our Navy fighting ships the way we're treating this bill, by saying just pass it without people will just have to deal with it. We would have many ships and subs not returning safely, or worse, not coming back to port at all. I hate to look at the what-if scenarios, but as an inspector, I'm trained to look at all the possible outcomes of a bad, poorly put together system. And I say this bill is a poorly written bill. I take pride in making sure that our billion-dollar pieces of equipment are repaired and sent out to the best and the safest quality. We owe it to the people of Hawaii to make sure that we're giving them the best and safest quality of life here in Hawaii. Don't be instructed by verbal instructions from the AG or the Gov, or don't vote with your gut. You must be objective and see what SB1 really is. It's a poorly written piece of legislation. Kill the bill and vote no on SB1. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I've asked several times now, please, today, there's no response to the testimony, no waving of hands, no nodding, no nothing. Just sit here and listen to it. Next, please.
But if you need to do that, you can listen to it outside. You can go outside.
I'm sorry, what, the testifier,
Aloha.
Go ahead.
Aloha. My name is Dr. Matthew Lepresti from Eva Beach. My number is 3551. Thank you, Chair Rhodes, Luke, and House members. You've shown remarkable restraint over the past 5 days in the face of spurious arguments, repetitive testimony, and false claims that this bill is being rushed. Marriage equality is the single greatest civil rights issue of our day. The simple and straightforward argument for marriage equality are of two kinds. The first, practical, and the second, moral. On the practical side, the state of Hawaii must act now to bring the state in line with SCOTUS's recent ruling requiring that same-sex couples be allowed equal access to the same hundreds of rights and privileges of other married couples, and that this essentially means that marriage equality is one of the only constitutional ways to ensure such equal treatment under the law. The moral argument concerns respecting the liberties of our GLBT brothers and sisters and treating them as those of us who may be straight wish to be treated. I'm a straight father of two. I'm a Catholic. I'm very much in favor of marriage equality. But this means we cannot reasonably or ethically discriminate and create second-class status that condones one group of persons who wish to marry like myself while limiting the rights of another group who wishes to also have their loving relationships recognized on an equal footing. This is basic. Sadly, numerous poorly reasoned counter-arguments abound opposed to gay marriage, alleging fallacious harms or insisting upon deliberately absurd slippery slopes that suggest that if we allow gay marriage, then we will face a need to condone a motley list of completely unrelated unions. As the former, no alleged harms have ever been upheld, even on the least bit of scrutiny, and faux scientific studies have been objectively discredited and even recanted by some of the authors of those studies. As for the latter, the supposed slippery slopes that you will have heard either do not actually apply to gay marriage or merely apply to marriage between same-sex couples as much as it applies to others. As a professor of philosophy and world religions, I am especially opposed to amending the bill to allow for extra concessions to allow for extra discrimination.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
About that. Thank you.
Honorable Representatives, aloha.
Aloha.
I am David Eastman, number 3513. I'm a self-employed businessman and a single father of a young boy. I'm opposed to SB1 for many reasons, but will stress only two of them and then present a potential solution. I'm opposed because it creates what I refer to as marriage superiority and does not protect our keiki. I believe this bill creates what I refer to as marriage superiority, not marriage equality, in regards to church and small businesses. No one group should be given rights over another group. If I as a Christian wanted to get married, there is no law that allows me to choose any religious denomination and impose my will to marry upon them. A Christian couple, for example, would have a hard time finding a Jewish synagogue, Buddhist temple, or a Muslim mosque that would allow them to marry on their grounds if they were not members. Number two, there is no protection given to our schools and our keiki in regard to preventing them from being forcibly taught about the LGBT community has intercourse. Now, hopefully I can present something fresh. In the Marine Corps, I was taught not to present a problem until you could present a possible solution. I have watched over 20 hours of testimony and believe I see a common thread and possible compromise. This appears to mainly be about federal benefits, as state benefits are already provided to same-sex couples. Could the state simply send a letter of clarification, a declaration, or such to Washington, D.C.? Not sure the legal term of such a letter, but it could be less than 3 paragraphs long and state the following. The sovereign state of Hawaii has and continues to recognize civil unions as a legal form of marriage. As such, Hawaii grants the same legal benefits to same-sex couples as they do opposite-sex couples. Hence, the state requests you no longer deny federal benefits to the people who have legally obtained this form of marriage. This declaration, however, is not meant to construe in any way that same-sex couples can force their will to get married upon any church or religious organization, especially in regards to the fact that religious freedoms are protected under the U.S. Constitution. Furthermore, we recognize that there is a difference between legally married and being religiously married. Please inform that legal benefits are no longer legally denied. David Eastman.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
My name is Wesley Amata, number 3544. Last night, I picked up 3 ladies from the Capitol, and they were talking in my cab about how they and their friends had all testified twice. One of them said, if we keep doing this, then they won't have to keep busing more of us in. I wonder if they're from here or from the mainland. They talked about, well, sorry. The people in favor of this bill talk about discrimination and bullying. Yet, you continue to ignore Christian churches and businesses who have been bullied in the legal courts in lawsuits that they cannot fight, because that's the only way they can win, in the courts, not by the vote of the people. But you continue to ignore them that have been bullied by the activists on the other side. I'm not talking about all the LGBTs, but the activists, like those three in my cab last night. When the civil unions bill came up, I went to former Representative Magoai from Haleiwa Wailua side to thank him for listening to the people and voting no against civil unions. I went in there and I was surprised. There was a group of about 10 activists who started verbally attacking me. I was there just to, on my own business, and they attacked me. One of them came up to my face, pointed at me, says, "Your kid's going to turn out gay and lesbian." Another lady says, "You don't belong here, slanty eyes. Why don't you go back to where you came from?" I told her, I just smiled, I asked, "Ma'am, are you from here?" The majority were white, okay? But that doesn't matter in Hawaii. You folks all know. But in Hawaii, you can tell when people are not from Hawaii. So I asked her where she's from, and she says, "I'm from Colorado." You don't deserve to be here.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Aloha Chair, Committee, and Representatives. My name is Danielle Surface. My number is 3542. I'm very glad to be here today. I didn't initially intend to come in and to testify in person. I had just written in, but it just kind of sent it to the wrong place and ended up with a number. So I decided, kind of got put into the place where I need to take my responsibility as a citizen seriously. And so I've learned some valuable lessons this week. And so I'm thankful for this circumstances for that reason. But I am very firmly opposed to SB1. I have much of the same things to say. You've heard it over and over again, but I think that's important that you've heard it over and over again. I'm here to do my job as a citizen, to voice my concerns, to exercise my freedom of speech, and to allow you to do your job to more accurately represent me and other citizens of this state. And I ask that you would take that role seriously. I may not understand all of the details. I will be honest and say that I don't always pay attention, but I feel very insecure at this point because I do feel deceived, and I do feel that this has been handled in a dishonest way and in a rushed way and not taking into consideration. I'm an educator. I've been an educator for many years here in Hawaii. My family is here. And when you don't have a solution that works, you have to change it. And not every child in education responds the same way. Not every answer is the right answer, or what you worked before, or what worked in another place. And sometimes you got to think outside of the box. Many times, every day, you have to be open to that. And that's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to vote no to SB1 because I think it's obvious that there is no solution here that is not going to continue to cause dissension and strife and more problems that you are frankly going to have to continue to deal with, and you don't want that burden upon yourself. I see many concerns, but I ask that you would take your responsibility seriously and find an answer that would address the concerns and the burdens of every person, and as is your role to do, as we are asking you to do today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please.
My name is Sherry Ann Lau, and my number is 3553. Good morning, Honorable Chairs Rhodes and Luke, and members of the House Judiciary and Finance Committees. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in opposition to SB1. I strongly oppose SB1 for the following reasons. A five-day special session is not enough time to discuss the most controversial issues of our time. The amount of time to debate and discuss this issue is far too short. A yes vote during a special session will reflect the desires of the governor and the legislatures and not the desires of the people of the state of Hawaii. The governor and legislatures are elected to represent the people, and as a result should respect the process that allows their voices and opinions the greatest opportunity to be heard. I was born and raised in Hawaii. I, along with all the other Hawaii residents, chose to reside here for various reasons. If this bill passes, it will force me to really think, do I want to continue living in Hawaii? Our families will be affected. Some families may choose to live elsewhere because of the lifestyle change they will make. Ohana will not stay together. Our culture will change, the look of Hawaii will change, and the people will change. These changes will affect not only me, but the many other residents here. How about tourism? Will people continue to choose to vacation in Hawaii? I'm sure many businesses will be impacted in many, many ways. Thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing all of us to give our testimonies. I know you're tired, but you all have been very patient. Just let the people decide. And once again, I strongly oppose SB1.
Thank you very much. Next, please. Okay.
Aloha, my name is Tiffany Olaso. My number is 3547. I oppose SB1. Thank you for listening to me, to my voice, and to my concerns. Let the people decide. Let the people vote. I am blessed to be part of a children's outreach in Waipahu and Mililani, where we teach the children about God. On Saturday, November 2nd, 2013, I instructed the children to break into their small groups, according to their grade level, to talk about the things that we were thankful for. In the middle and high school group, I heard them say they are thankful for the laws and the government because it protects us. I speak to you on behalf of these preteens and teenagers. They are trusting you, the legislature, will make the right decisions for them, to protect them. I humbly ask that you let the people decide. You let these children's parents decide if they want same-sex education to be taught to their children in school. Please put aside your personal feelings and take into account the hundreds of people that has testified in opposition and the thousands of letters that you have received. My question to you is, have you truly listened to all that's been said? And have you read all the letters that have been written? I pray that you have. Once again, I oppose SB1. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Aloha, my name is Lucy and my number is 3597. Thank you, Chair Luke, Chair Rhodes, and committee members for your time and for giving me the opportunity to testify in person. I submitted a very short testimony online, and this is my verbal testimony to add. I strongly oppose SB1. I'm a registered voter, and my family and I currently live in the Kaka'ako area. My husband and I own a home in Waimea, Big Island, but we recently moved to Honolulu to get better medical treatment for my husband, who has been diagnosed and struggling with Parkinson's since 2008. I'm deeply saddened that our outer island voters do not have the opportunity to participate in this process of testifying in person. If I were still in Waimea and considering the additional cost to fly, I would not be here today. I'm not a political pundit, nor am I an attorney at law. However, I work in the private sector in the tourism industry and have been following the event daily on the Olelo channels. I want to give a shout out to those in the media crew that have been working tirelessly to make this available to those that can't sacrifice work time to be here day and night. I've learned a lot by listening this past week. I especially learned more when the legislators asked certain testifiers thoughtful and practical questions. There are too many unanswered questions to this bill. This process just reinforces to me that more time is needed for our elected community leaders to make wise and practical decisions for our state and the people. Please don't rush the process and by default pass a bill which would be a travesty to all involved. In conclusion, please remember our former Governor Lingo's position on this issue. Although many may not have agreed on her leadership, I think many admired her stand and reassured the people of Hawaii that she would not unilaterally make a decision regarding same-sex marriage, but would let the people vote. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Aloha, representatives. My name is Carol Ho'omanavanui. My number is 3434. I am here to testify in opposition to SB1. First of all, I want to thank you for, especially to the chairs, for accommodating those that have signed up to testify to actually allow us to speak our voice. And even as you have given us, the people of Hawaii, time to speak at this hearing, I still have a lot of concerns about the time and process that the entire process of this bill has been given. Initially, when the governor called this special session, it was supposed to be given only 5 days. That's 1/12 of the regular time that any bill would take when you go through a normal process of the regular session. A lot of you have had time to speak with your constituents as well as look at this bill because you're not inundated. But on the flip side of that democratic process is also input from your constituents, input from the people of Hawaii that live here, that thrive here, that have our generations, our kupuna, our ancestors, our next generation that is coming up. The other thing that I'm concerned about, there's a lot of questions, as many testifiers had testified before. There's questions about what will happen. Education, what are the values that we'll have? This is changing the values. This is changing the values. And this bill is changing history, centuries of tradition, that tradition of being a marriage between one woman and one man. And you want to do that within 5 or 10 days? I don't think that's justice. So I'm really encouraging you to take the time to look at how Hawaii is unique. People come because of the uniqueness to Hawaii. And as that uniqueness, we should continue to encourage that uniqueness that makes Hawaii home here to us. So I'm encouraging you to take the time to look at this. What are the implications of this bill? And that's really concerning. And it's concerning because we don't have the answers to that. So I am encouraging you to say no to this bill, and I'm encouraging you to execute justice and righteousness judgment. And vote no. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Greetings. My name is Mark Morimoto. My number is 3431. I'm 56 years old, born and raised here in Hawaii. Married, has an awesome wife, 3 great kids, registered voter since I was 18. I've always considered voting a very special privilege that we have in the United States. I've come here today to say that I'm opposed to Senate Bill 1. Primary reason is to voice my concern is that this bill is being unnecessarily rushed through. A bill that has brought so many people out, where there's so much concern, so many questions, really needs more time. You know, what are the possible consequences and ramifications of passing this bill, especially for our keiki? Will there be changes in our curriculum in the public schools? Will there be changes in the private schools and for those who choose to homeschool their children? Will parents have the freedom to raise their children according to their beliefs and their values, or will they lose parental rights? Are the religious exemptions satisfactory to the religious community, or will their First Amendment rights be infringed upon? Will people in the marketplace have the freedom to do business according to their First Amendment rights? Will this affect the freedom to disagree and voice opinions that are contrary to what is being proposed in this bill? There is so many questions. One of my professors would say to us, make haste slowly. He understood how easy it was for us idealistic students to rush into things. And he would say, make haste slowly. Act quickly, but not so quickly that you make careless mistakes. I cannot argue that there is a sense of urgency here, but I urge you and humbly ask you to make haste slowly and to really consider this. And thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good morning, chairs and representatives. My name is Fenton Lee, number 3517, and I'm here to voice my opposition to same-sex marriage, as it states in my written testimony regarding God's laws and natural laws. I strongly oppose SB1 because it will infringe upon my freedom of choice in my actions and in what I can say and believe according to my faith. I oppose SB1 because it is presented contrary to the democratic process in this special session. I was born and raised in Honolulu, and I have spent over 30 years living and working on the neighbor islands. God blessed me with my wife. He blessed me having to be able to live among the communities of all the counties of this state. And so I just want to speak out for all my ohana on Kauai and all of the rest of the people across the state who are being denied
the chance to petition you equally on this issue. They too deserve the opportunity to be heard. All of you representatives from the neighbor islands, you should be fighting for your constituents to have the opportunity to be heard. It's not about you, it's about them, and it's about us, the people of Hawaii. It is the state that determines marriage. There's not have been enough work on your part to fully assess the negative effects this bill will create. Vote no.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Aloha, my name is Hannah Dido, and my number is 3501. I stand by my written testimony, but wanted to give some less redundant information. I am a registered voter from Manoa. I am opposed to SB1. First of all, if you want to hear an expert on the Bible answer difficult and controversial questions regarding what it has to say about marriage, slavery, polygamy, women's rights, and homosexuality, please look up Dr. Michael L. Brown online. He has researched and written extensively and participates in debates in American universities and speaks internationally. The Gay Men's Domestic Violence Project organization of Massachusetts cited the October 2013 report to the governor, which showed high prevalence of domestic violence among the GLBT community in Massachusetts. The report cites sexual and domestic violence prevalence for GLBT individuals at rates equal to or greater than the general population, with gay men and lesbians at rates ranging from equal to almost double that of heterosexuals, bisexuals at slightly higher rates, and transgender individuals at significantly higher rates, almost double that of gay and lesbian individuals. The report also cites barriers to access for GLBT survivors. It acknowledges that it is more expensive to provide culturally competent and accessible services for marginalized, high-risk populations. This community is certainly at a disadvantage for so many reasons, but as the lifestyle is plagued with difficulties and risks, I think it's much more compassionate to promote abstinence and respect for all. Please stop the controversy by asking the federal government to recognize Hawaii Civil Union law. Also, please support House Bill 5. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please.
Testing. Hey, my name is Shane Jackson. My number is 3536. And I talk in front of people all the time, but for some reason I'm nervous, probably because everyone's staring at me. I was going to read a speech, but it's really not how I feel. Looking back at old Greek city-states, and I spent a while learning about history and politics in college. And as I look back at old Greek city-states, the first steps of democracy, a lot of them were direct democracies. Thousands of people came and voted on every specific issue. Is this really time-consuming thing that everybody had to go do and take time out of their day. That gave a lot of responsibility to every single citizen. And responsibility is of huge importance when you're making a fundamental change to society. I guess what I'm saying is that as population has grown, Hawaii has over 1 million people, the US has over 300 million, we've had to transition to what we have today, which is an indirect democracy. And that works. That works for a lot of different things. If we need a farm bill voted on, nobody's gonna wanna go and vote on every single issue of the day. But when you're changing, and I'm not just talking about gay marriage, but when you're changing something that's fundamental to society, is it so much to ask to... Basically, I'm for a direct vote for this particular bill. Whether I think it's right or wrong is besides the question. It takes the responsibility away in an indirect democracy. Let us vote on it and let us take responsibility for the outcome. I'm opposed to SB1, or, yeah, state bill, but it's more about responsibility than anything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, please.
Beth Sepp, number 3525. I stand in strong opposition to SB1. Being a political activist is not in my personality, but neither is being a doormat. It is my foundation of faith and hope in democracy that brought me here today. I am in no way asking you to agree with the religion I am free to follow, but I am asking you to respect, preserve, and defend those rights. Adherence and commitment to beliefs is not discrimination against those who believe differently. It's an expression of religious freedoms, but it is being manipulated to be discrimination. The bill may attempt to provide exemptions regarding a building or a clergy, but where is the protection for the individuals, parents, students, teachers, and business owners who are experiencing persecution for merely standing for what they believe to be right? Strong commitment to one's beliefs, whatever they may be, and the strength of character not to be easily influenced by peers and popular political opinion should be well respected and supported. Religion is being reduced to an exemption instead of respected as the societal foundation that it is. I stand to defend everyone's foundational religious liberties and rights of conscience that are being undermined by this bill. I recognize that you represent everyone in Hawaii, those of different faiths, race, backgrounds, and sexual orientations alike. And it really, truly does break my heart to see anyone treated with disrespect or hate because of their faith or because of their lifestyle. Law will not change people's opinions. Law will not make homosexuality or hatred disappear, but it can either protect or undermine individuals and their beliefs. It is no improvement if increase in rights for one group minimizes the rights of another and will only serve to create a greater division amongst the people. This will directly affect individuals on a personal level, so where are the personal and individual protections? I am not opposed to benefits. Let's focus our energy on expanding definitions of benefits, not marriage. This bill is inadequate, irreparably flawed, and everyone deserves better. Kill this bill, start over, make it right, and find a better solution. Heed the voice of your people. Please do not fail your people. I stand in opposition of this bill and in defense of religious freedoms. Just like my grandfather did every day that he was in a German prison camp facing death to defend a religion that was not even his own. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello and good morning. My name is Isaac Tandell. I'm number 3515, and I stand before you today to voice my opposition to Senate Bill 1 and the legalization of same-sex marriage. So here we are on Tuesday, the 5th day of testimonies, rallying, protests, emotions, stories, religious stories, whatever the case may be. And I'm not a rocket scientist. I don't have a master's degree. I graduated from Campbell, Evo Beach, 76 South, and even I can see what the people want, what the people are saying, what the voices are saying to you, what the majority of the island is saying and what they want. They want to vote. Let the people decide. Let us decide on this decision. And if in the back of your mind you're thinking, you know what, forget about the people. They don't need to decide on this issue. This is the issue that we're going to do ourselves. Yeah, they voted me into this position, but haha, I duped you guys all, and we're going to make the decision for them. This is the issue that is important for us and the people of Hawaii. But let us decide. Let us decide if we want to change the definition of marriage. Let us decide if we want to change tradition. Let us decide if we want the meaning of this to be changed. Let the people decide of whether or not we want our land, our Aina, to be perpetuated in unrighteousness. Because that's where it's headed with this legalization of same-sex marriage. We might as well take off that seal and that saying of ua mau ke o kaene ikapono, because the land is no longer perpetuated in righteousness. And that's the road that it seems like we're kind of headed. But please, let the people decide. Let us decide what we want for our future, for our children, for our kids, for our kiki, for the future of the land. Let us continue to perpetuate our land in righteousness. Thank you for letting me speak. Aloha.
Okay, next. Next, please.
Good morning. My name is Don Wisniewski, and my number is 3573. I thank you for taking the time to hear my voice concerning same-sex marriage. As a concerned citizen, I'm opposed to this bill as it is written, as it will take away my freedom of religion, in addition to that of the church, in order to give another group rights that trump mine. I am a disabled veteran who has served this country to guarantee that I am free to worship God the way He commands me to. I also serve for those who do not believe in the God that I believe in, and that they are free to do so as well. I believe in the same God, I believe in the same things that the founding fathers of this great country believed in, including the same God whose word permeates through all the documents of this country. That they guaranteed me the freedoms and rights that we still enjoy here, but may not if this bill is passed and others like it. It is my belief that no law can be crafted that would take away or erode any rights that I'm guaranteed under the Constitution. If this bill is, as the governor stated, about tax benefits or any other government or state benefits, then you can give these couples those benefits without involving the church, without taking away my rights. Either I have freedom of religion or I don't. It cannot be you have it, but I cannot have that right taken away from me. So it is my position that you, the representatives, should let the people decide. Let the people decide on this issue. This issue is way too important to try and rush through a special session. God loves each and every one of you in this room, as do I. Thank you so much, and God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Number 3679, Teresa Armbruster. Honorable chairs and committee members, I oppose SB1. There's been so much controversy and division surrounding this bill that I got inspired to write this poem. SB1, to be or not to be. SB1, oh yes, say some, we won our rights. Oh no, say the throngs, this will create more wrongs. So in the balance it goes. And to you this question I pose. On what basis will you make your choice? On your own or to the loudest voice? But if our best is what you quest, seek God, our rock on which to stand. Everything else is sinking sand. So take more time. SB1 is not the best for all, so take more time, because a house divided will fall. Don't choose a side. Let the people decide. And everyone out there, register to vote so you can go to the booth and make a stand for truth. And here's another rhyme. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 lefts make a right. If SB1 is left alone, there's still a lot unknown. If left to you, who knows what you'll do? If left to us, there's no more to discuss. Or HB8 is already in sight, so let's wait and do what's right. Let the people decide. And I just ask you to please open up your hearts and minds to the voice of truth so you do not fall by the sleuth. Vote no to SB1. And if anyone wants a ticket to heaven, see me afterwards, because time is running out, and it's better to be saved than sorry. Aloha. God bless you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Aloha. My name is Barry Naone. I am number 3702. To the Honorable Chairman, the Vice Chairman, and the distinguished panel, I greet you in the name of Jesus Christ. I am a 4th-generation minister of the Nanakuli Dora Faith Mission, which my ohana has led for the last 75 years. I strongly oppose Senate Bill SB1 on the basis of my religious beliefs and doctrinal foundations as worded in Genesis 2:24. This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united to become one. The propensity which leads one to choose an alternative lifestyle goes against the moral laws of God which our nation was founded upon. It's not found in genetics nor in scientific analysis or in the future of our economy. It's found in truth. It's truth that sets one free. It's truth that opens up one's eyes to see who we really are. It is what it is. Traditional marriage is sacred. We are all here because of traditional marriages or a traditional relationship. Like the word says, tradition. It is an institute that which has been in place for many generations. Marriage, one man, one woman. I implore you to let the people decide. The Lord bless you, the Lord keep you, the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and give unto you peace. My speech may be offensive to some, and I may be called a bigot and a hater, but far from it. It is what it is. I implore you to allow the people to decide. God bless and aloha.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, Honorable Vice Chair, and respectable representatives of this committee. My name is Patricia Longi, and I was born and raised here on Oahu. I strongly oppose...
Excuse me a second. Could you give us your registration number, please?
3613.
3613. Thank you.
I strongly oppose SB1. In 1998, when another bill similar to this was put onto a ballot, I was too young to vote, so I didn't really have a voice. I was told this morning that majority of you have already made a decision, which means that we're all here just wasting our time, breathing hot air. It's like being 8 years old again. I have no voice, but I'm praying to God that it's just a rumor. Primarily, I oppose because of my beliefs as a Christian and because of the many doors it could open, as seen in Massachusetts and Canada. To rush such a decision, which could be easily thoroughly examined during a regular session, is with all due respect selfish, something that Hawaii is not known for. I have nothing but love for the LGBT community, but it goes against the very foundation of our society, of our very existence. I'm not a very intelligent person by the standards of many, but I don't think it takes a genius to know that marriage is very sacred. Upon coming here yesterday morning, I saw a sign that said, "Love is love." No, God is love. 1 John 4:8. And it was intended by God, who is love, for marriage to be between one man and one woman. I know I'm only one voice out of the millions of people who live here in Hawaii, but I still like to believe that my voice counts. Please kill the bill and let the people of Hawaii decide. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
My name is William Bannister, 3685. Dear Honorable Chair Rhodes and Luke and members of the House, Judiciary and Finance Committee, I am strongly against this bill. We came from our father and mother, which is between a man and a woman, which produce children and life, hope and future to the next generation. This bill, same-sex marriage, man and man, women and women, does not produce children, does not produce life and future to the next generation. There will be no hope. Even the animals knows better. Nature, in all aspects, will disapprove this bill. Second thing is that I believe that this bill, SB1, does not protect the democratic and constitutional rights of churches, individual parents, teachers, and children. This bill, SB1, only takes away the rights of the people, which is not for the people. This bill, SB1, only promotes the anger, perverted, lustful, wicked, and sinful lifestyle of an unhappy group that wants to live like that. Hawaii, number 3, Hawaii is a tourist vacation hotspot for families to come and enjoy. Tourism is our #1 economy, and we need families from all over the world to come here. What will happen if this bill is passed? I believe families will go somewhere else for vacation because they do not want their kids to be exposed by some bad image. You know, people like to go to San Francisco to see the Golden Gate, but now it's not the Golden Gate, it's something else there. It is a bad image for our paradise Hawaii. It will be a bad economy and loss of jobs. This bill, SB1, is instigated by a small group of people that most of them do not even come from Hawaii.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Thank you.
Good morning. My number is 3689, Joanne Ibesu, registered Hawaii voter. I commend you for listening to our testimonies. I stand by my written testimony, but wanted to add to it. As most parents do, I sacrifice a lot for my children. I also try to teach them right from wrong, to treat others with respect, and that even one voice or one vote can make a difference. That's why I'm here today, for them and the children of Hawaii. I respect and love my gay relatives and friends, but I'm strongly opposed to SB1. The political, legal, economic, and social ramifications of this bill are far too critical for it to be rushed through the legislative process for the sake of political correctness. As many lawyers have already testified, this bill is flawed. Passing it will subvert my rights as an individual and a parent. As I tell my boys, always do your best. This bill is not your best. So please, fix it or kill it. And protect my rights, the rights of my children, and the rights of the children of Hawaii. In 1998, Hawaii voters entrusted you legislatures with the power to reserve marriage to opposite-sex couples. The definition of reserve is to keep back or set aside for future use. By no stretch of the imagination does it mean to destroy or change. Please use your power to uphold this amendment. Please do not condone this farcical show of democracy by the governor and the Senate members who voted for this bill. Please vote no on SB1. Please let the people vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
My name is Lynn Shimasaki, registration number 3634. That's 3634. My testimony today supplements the written testimony submitted to you already. I'm opposed to SB1 because any law that gives protection to the freedom rights of one group of citizens at the expense of the freedom and rights of another group of citizens, it just does not make sense. We have heard many arguments for the bill. Last night we heard a molecular biologist provide evidence of a genetic link to homosexual behavior. So the reason it goes, our genetic makeup determines our sexual preference, and therefore being and acting out our homosexuality is okay, therefore same-sex marriage is okay. But the fact remains that homosexual behavior in same-sex marriage is a sin and abomination before God. We will never know why God makes us the way we are, why he allows some to be born physically and mentally challenged, why he allows such dreaded disease as cancer, why some is predisposed to mental disease or addiction. The Apostle Paul speaks about a thorn in his flesh that God allowed Satan to use to torment him. 3 times he asked God to take it away, but God did not. We do not know what this thorn was, and we can only guess. But we are all born and have to deal with our own personal thorns, whatever they may be. But our hope is this. As Apostle Paul goes on to say, God told him that my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. Jesus said to his disciples, we must deny ourselves daily, pick up our own cross, and follow him. We all have our own individual crosses to die to, but our hope is in the strength God gives us. There are those who do decide to deny one's genetic makeup or temptation to follow Christ. Some have also tried to compare the rights of same-sex couples to racial equality, but racial bigotry was never right in the eyes of God. Desecration of God's gift of marriage by allowing same-sex marriages is also immoral. One representative argued that morality is subjective, but the truth is God's laws will never, ever change. Now, society's moral standards do deviate, but God's laws will never change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please. I'm sorry, before you start, just a moment. Can anyone with a number between 3,800 and 4,000 please come down to the chamber level and check in? Again, that's 3,800 to 4,000. Mahalo. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Dottie Brown. My number is 3762, and I strongly support SB1. I apologize, but I accidentally set the wrong testimony, so this one's a little different. But thank you for allowing me to give my voice. I am an RN as well as a volunteer for animal rescue in Hawaii's homeless here. The bill is not about politics or religion, but about fairness. And stripping homosexuals from our rights is wrong and un-American. I believe Thomas Jefferson said it best when he said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." As most of us here, we've heard the opponents and the overwhelming fear that has thrived a lot of abusive language and now cheating. Why are the opponents so fearful? There's nothing to fear about two people who want to love each other and make a commitment. We just want to be able to plan for each other when something arises, just like you can, Senator Ward, with your wife, and how you can, Senator Har, with your husband. I have been called many horrendous names. I've been spit on, and I've been physically abused for being a lesbian. Not passing this bill just reinforces this behaviors and tells those bullies that this is all right. And I'd like to clarify and question something about this bill, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's been really misconstrued. This bill isn't about the gay community wanting to override or impose on any other religious organizations. We do not want these organizations to feel like they are wrong or forced into marrying us if they don't want to. I feel the bill should be passed with considerations on religious amendments to give all religious organizations the option to marry us or not, whether profit or nonprofit. Please see past these religious biases and see the bill for what it really means: fairness, love, and equality to all of God's creatures. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Good morning. My name is Ro Kawanishi. My number is 3985. The Foundational Voices of America spoke these words: "We the people." Can I say that again? We the people. Our Constitution guarantees us a government that is formed by the people, run by the people, and should be for the people. There was a man named James Otis. He has an issue that is very similar to what we have today. His statement was, "Taxation without representation is tyranny." And today, when we look at this verse, it is not about taxation. It's about not having representation. This is a very big issue for we, the people of Hawaii. We, the people of Hawaii, have no representation in the same-sex marriage issue because the governor and you, the legislature, you guys try to sidestep this so that you would pass us. I don't think this is right. I think we have should have a voice, and that's why I object to this bill. When you think about it, in this issue of equality, there are two faces to this coin. One is equality to the same-sex people, and one is equality to the voters, the residents of the state of Hawaii. We have a right to be heard in this issue. You know, when you think about it, we are the economy. On a daily basis, we make this state work. We go to work every day. We build the houses. We work in the hospitals. We work, you know, in the grocery stores.
Thank you very much.
Do we not have a right?
Okay, thank you very much. Next up, please.
Roberto Leon, number 3883. I am a registered voter in this state. I pay my taxes, and I'm an English teacher. First off, I'd like to get that in front of my face better. Thank you all for not rushing this and taking several weeks on it. First off, I'd like to say that the LGBT folk are our brothers and sisters, and that they should be treated as such. If they are not receiving rights, give them those rights and respect. I oppose SB1 not because of that particular matter, but because it is a poorly drafted document with various assumptions, contradictions, and omissions. Here's a list of 9. 1. SB1 assumes that it is better to have more legislation than simply amend past legislation. Number 2, SB1 forgets that Section 2 of DOMA still stands. 3, if SB1 passed, Article 23 of the Hawaii State Constitution would have to be amended. 4, if SB1 passed, Article 1, Sections 3 and 5 of the Hawaii State Constitution would also have to be amended because they refer to sex, which is male-female, not gender, which is a different matter. Number 5, 572 1.1 and 572.8 contradict each other. According to 572.8, it's okay if I marry my mother if I want to have rights. 6, page 14, line 6 and line 16 through 19 contradict each other as well. One says that you don't need to be in the state for a certain amount of time to get divorced. Another section says that you have to be here for 6 months. They don't agree. There's a few other ones, but I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up.
My number is 3859. My name is Margaret Nozawa. My parents came to Hawaii in 1957, my father leaving a job with NASA. He chose instead to be an educator. My mother also taught school. My parents taught us to love unconditionally. It was not something that they only spoke, it was something they lived. After having a family of their own, they adopted 6 additional children. The first from Korea, the last 6, the last 5 from here in Hawaii. So in my own family, I have many national ethnic backgrounds represented. My mother herself had 10 children before adopting those 6. My mother now has 55 grandchildren, 83 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild. I have 4 children, 17 grandchildren, 2 in the oven, and I beg your pardon, 1 in the oven, and 1 great-grandchild. My parents taught us, again, like I say, to love. My parents had us all sit down for dinner at the end of the day, and we all talked to one another about things that happened in the day, things that we were challenged with, things that made us happy. My parent taught us to be intellectuals, and you also are intellectuals. Intellectuals means having the capacity for thinking and acquiring knowledge, especially of a higher and complex order. I want to address and ask you then, as master thinkers, as intellects, to consider these things for which you are responsible. Intellectual humility, which means it demands that you recognize that you cannot claim that you know everything. It limits the knowledge that you are willing to say, my knowledge is limited. Intellectual courage means having the courage to face and fairly address ideas and viewpoints that are not your own. Intellectual empathy means imaginatively putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Intellectual integrity, recognition of the need to hold yourself to the same standards of evidence and proof to which you require. I stand opposed to SB1. I represent my mother and my posterity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Before the next testifier starts, just want to, if you're in group 3,800 to 4,000, please come down and get registered. 3,800 to 4,000. Okay, go ahead.
Aloha, my name is Gino Tamayo, and my number is number 3969. I am opposed to Senate Bill 1 because I believe this issue should have waited until the general session, the regular session in January, because not all the issues that deals with this bill will be resolved by the time that this session ends. And I wanted to thank all of you, all the representatives here for taking your time out to listen to everybody. And I was very disappointed that the Senate did not take the time out to listen to all of it. I hope that you guys will make your decision not by gut, but what the will of people. And if not, let the people decide this bill, because this bill will have more ramifications than we will ever know. Thank you, and And thank you for letting me a chance to testify.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
(3850) Corey Yang, an immigrant from China, Makalapa district. Dear leaders, no to SB1. Due to the rush, there's no official translated documents in different languages. Majority of the non-English speaking citizens are totally blind to this issue. There's no one, they do not know what is going on and are excluded. These citizens are entitled to participate and to understand what's happening that will change their life and their generations to come. SB1 will have a negative impact on Hawaii tourism and economy. It will scare away potential real estate investment, weddings, visitors, students, and from Asia area. As none of the Asian countries embrace same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage is against Asian culture and traditions, which is rooted on carry on family name and marriage between man and woman. Do you think the Asians would like to buy houses to live in areas among the same-sex styles, or taking wedding pictures, or lay on beaches like Waikiki, where same-sex activities on the backgrounds? No. Thank you to those leaders to choose to serve the Almighty God with no reserve, no retreat, and no regret. To the leaders support SB1, please put down your stony heart. You have already been given 60 hours of messages, no excuse. This is the most expensive 2 minutes that I have paid. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Aloha, my name is Paulette Akim. My number is 3992. I oppose SB1. I am a native Hawaiian. I was raised on Oahu, and my husband and I oppose this bill. I've been married to my husband, who is Hawaiian also, for 48 years, and we have 9 children, 5 boys and 4 girls.
Can you hold on just a second? You may not have been in here when I asked before, but today I'm asking that there be no waving of hands, clapping, nodding, or anything like that. So just so you know, just please don't do it today. Okay, please continue.
And I ask you to kill that bill. Kill that bill. It's simple. Kill the bill. Ha'aheo e ka uai nā pali. Ke nihi a ela I kana hele. E uhai ana I ka pā. Koliko. Pua ahi le hua o uka. Aloha oe, aloha oe, e ke ona noho I ka lipo. One fond embrace, aho ia e au, until we meet again. This is the song when they took our queen, Liliuokalani, up to Mauna Ala. This is the song, and she wrote this song. And our Hawaiian people have been forgotten, and this seems like it's happening again. And it's not pono. It is not pono. Kill that bill. Kill Bill. That's all I have to say.
Next, please.
Aloha, my name is Dara Saifaloy, and my number is 3892.
I am here to honor my family as well as my kupuna whom are not here with us today. I am a wife, mother, and Native Hawaiian Christian, and am in strong opposition of SB1. Not only am I perturbed with the substance of this bill, but the fact that our intelligence is being undermined and that we, the people, are fighting the same battle my family, as well as many others, have fought 15 years ago, believing that the sanctity of marriage between one man and one woman was protected and made law according to the will of the people, is absolutely absurd. Nonetheless, I am here today and will continue to fight to the bitter end. I ask you all to take a closer look at the ramifications of this bill if passed. Have you considered its potential social and moral effects on society? Are we going to fill up our courtrooms with lawsuits, opening the doors to unforeseen devastating litigation and turmoil? There are other states and countries who have legalized same-sex marriage. Let's take the time to look at them and learn from them. What will happen to our educational systems? Will I, as a parent, be able to practice my rights of parental consent to teach and guide my child the way I see fit? Furthermore, I had to tolerate God being taken out of our public school systems. I will certainly not tolerate my children being exposed to curriculum and literature that would otherwise be against my beliefs and values. You cannot offer rights to one party at the expense of another. Religions, its affiliates, and small businesses are not completely protected by this bill, thus creating something quite opposite of equality. As a person that comes from a Hawaiian Christian family, we grew up with many members in our family choosing to live an alternative lifestyle. Do we love and respect them any less? Certainly not. They are entitled to their rights as citizens of this country, but do not trample on our religious liberties in the process. Last but not least, what about the future of our Native Hawaiian keiki? SB1 does not preserve the rights for those of true Native Hawaiian descent. SB1 Section 572 includes provisions of parentage presumptions that will transfer Hawaiian ethnicity claims onto non-Native Hawaiian individuals. Thank you.
Next, please.
My number is 3886, and my name is Ashton Saifoloi, and I am in strong opposition to SB1. Why are we still discussing this issue? How long do we the people have to be coerced into following a bill that is missing many plain and precious parts? Listening to shaky and repetitive statements make me lose trust in our governing body. Also, having our testimonies being called dirty laundry and peel out disgusts me to the utmost. Some sleeping politicians who mutter under their breath as these people plea and cry humbly for their voices to be heard is disturbing and a travesty. I will be damned if my children are forced to read, study, and learn literature endorsing anal, oral, and inappropriate ways of touching members of the same sex, not to mention slogans saying it is a great time to be queer. This bill doesn't protect we the parents, and it is disgustingly unethical. Another area of confusion has to do with blood quantum. Our princess set aside guidelines for Native Hawaiian children. Are we seriously ready to override her worthy desire for our Native Hawaiian children's education by allowing a same-sex couple to send their foreign kid there? Hell no. Are we ready to allow incest, polygamy, bestiality?
I'm sorry,
what if two men want their son?
Could you just refrain from swearing? I'd appreciate that.
What if two men want their son they adopted to one day become a girl? Who are you to stop them? In essence, we are letting a group or minority decide what can and can't be done with regards to a sacred, God-given procreative power that has already been ordained by Him between a man and a woman. To that community, stop playing victim. We are the ones constantly attacked by you. We are not pigs, infidels, homophobes, bigots, fearmongers, or the like. Where in this bill does it protect us from this group of individuals? It doesn't. Our forefathers who prayerfully established the Constitution are rolling in their graves and saddened by what this country is slowly becoming. For so many years, the Native Hawaiian people have sat quietly waiting for their rights and privileges to be given. Why do you continue to neglect them? I can't believe you will let this people continue to wait. All the while, those of this minority, not even from this island, most of them, get to take the cake. Because as Amber Crumley put it, they have waited long enough. Please get off the fence and listen to what the people have to say. Vote no to 1BS. Mahalo.
Okay, at this point, members, let's go ahead and ask questions of the previous group of testifiers. Seeing none, let's go ahead and move on. Next testifier, please. Please proceed.
Valerie Okimoto, number 3863, and I oppose SB1. I was born and raised on the island of Kauai and now live in Mililani, Malka. I'm thankful to Representative Fukumoto. I was a SPED teacher for 10 years. I am a wife to a dedicated husband and mother to 2 beautiful daughters. I am not here to attack anyone, but to protect and preserve what I hold sacred and true. When I look into my daughter's eyes, I can't help but see my future. For everything I had done in my life prior to becoming their mother was all in preparation to be worthy of such a sacred title. And I say sacred title because that's exactly how I feel about my current job as their mom. While my daughters may have many aunties and uncles who love and care for them, I promise you that no one could ever love those 2 girls as much as their father and I do. For they are literally a part of both of us. Born into this world under a sacred covenant we made not just with each other, but with a loving Heavenly Father. There is an intangible yet visible bond between a mother and father and their children. And isn't that what they and every child deserves? To be loved by both a father and a mother. A person's parental rights shouldn't be something that is given to them, nor something a person is entitled to. It is a responsibility received, a privilege earned when you create that child under the bonds of marriage. I am not a homophobe, nor do I teach my children hatred in any way. I simply have faith in an almighty God and live my life in accordance with his laws and principles. To stop believing in his teachings would be like not believing the sun will rise every day. I simply cannot do this. As a mother, I am beyond concerned but afraid of what my own children will have to face. Will I be able to protect them, or will I have to live in fear of breaking the law? In 1998, I was not here for the vote. I was serving in a third world country, a mission for my church. And this country, they're extremely corrupt, but the people are oppressed, and they love, and they're loving and happy people. I hope that my own state of Hawaii, the only place I've ever called home, will not be a part of this kind of government. I implore you to not just feel my words, but vote no, but hear my words and vote no to SB1. Thank you.
Next, please.
Good morning. My name is Leslie Hill, registration number 3938, a grandmother of 7, a former teacher for 35 years, and a registered voter in the state of Hawaii. I oppose the same-sex marriage bill, SB1. I support traditional marriage and humbly ask you to let the people of Hawaii decide. Please vote no on this bill. Children are our future, and I have always believed that it's natural for them to have a dad and mom. Children are to be nurtured and protected by their parents and the society at large. I vividly recall in a gay parade in New York City where I resided, a banner blatantly stated, "We want your children." Are we going to protect our children from this agenda, or are you going to be a part of it? I do support the freedom of same-sex couples to practice their lifestyle of their choice. I pray that our children and grandchildren will also be free to believe and practice their families' faith and beliefs without pressure, influence, indoctrination, or derogatory labels from any intolerant group in our society or from our government. Anyone who disagrees with the agenda is labeled a bigot, or hater. A case in point, my 12-year-old grandson, who initiated collecting 60 signatures in support for traditional marriage from his schoolmates, was called a hater by other students who told others to hate him just for voicing his belief. In the New York bill, the legislators promised religious protection. Parents soon realized that the promise was just a ploy to win votes and get the bill passed. The curriculum developed by the DOE for kindergarten through high school was sexually graphic, pornographic, and designed to teach and promote homosexual relationships as normal. If you vote for this bill, the same curriculum will be taught to children in Hawaii, just as it is being taught in other states. Please consider the consequence of your actions. If you truly love and serve our families in Hawaii, vote no.
Next, please.
Good morning. My name is Robin Gomes, and my number is 4127, and I strongly oppose this process. And the reason I feel so strongly about this is because this morning I woke up to the KHON2 news, and there was our chair, Rhodes. And I've been here since the beginning, since Thursday. And we've been here from 6 in the morning to 12 at night on Thursday, and then 10 on Friday. And I couldn't make it on Saturday. That's why I'm here now to speak, to have my voice be heard. That the process is flawed. The process is a joke. We should stop it. This session is a joke. Listen to me by his own words. He said the shenanigans going on by the people, it's he the one that has the right to make the rules. When they come up and speak, he should have said clearly, there is no one should speak for anybody if that was it. I clearly say this process is flawed and I want it to stop. Kill Bill. Forget it. Kill this process. That's what I say. And I'm talking to all of you who voted yes, because you wanted this special session. You need to hear the voice. You need to go through the process. And this process is flawed. You forgot that you woke up a sleeping giant. I am Native Hawaiian. And to us, this is very wrong. To me and my family, this is like a slap in the face. And I say that with strong belief. As for Ohana, Ohana means to me not only family. The textbook meaning is family. But to me, it's a way of life. It's the way I live my life. We have gatherings on Sunday. We have time to go over things, issues that concern us. That's Ohana. Ohana is not just a name.
Thank you very much. Next, please. Oh, excuse me, before you start, if you're in the group, let's see, what are we up to here? If you're in the group 4,200 to 4,400, please come on down and get registered. And 4,000 to 4,200 has already begun. That was 41.
Oh, no, but then
They announced it outside. So anyway, the next group that needs to come down is 4,200 to 4,400. Okay, please proceed.
Aloha, everybody. And I'm speaking to the people. And the reason why I'm speaking to the people is because you're the only ones listening right now. There's a few of our legislators up there that are hearing our voices. So no offense to you. You know who you are, and we know who you are. And I start off with Aloha because that's my name. I heard so many people come up here.
Could you stop the clock a second? Can you just tell us your number again?
Oh, sorry. 4126.
Okay, 4126. Thank you.
Yeah. I hear so many people come up here and talk about what Aloha is. And you have no clue what Aloha is. Aloha is not a word. Aloha is action, words and action and spirit, all together in one. And if anybody has the basics about Hawaiian, it is names. That is very sacred and important to our people. And when I was given that name, I hold that in high respect and humility, because I am accountable to that name. And to me, before I speak to anybody else, I always speak to my own. I speak to me first. I speak to my family, my husband, my kids, and I speak to my people, Native Hawaiians, hosting culture of this land. I speak to Christians because I am one. We can sit here and blame them all we like, but you know what? I thank God for them, because right now, like my sister said, they just woke up a sleeping giant. I'm speaking to all of our people that stay home watching TV right now. You belong over here. When I go home, I hear plenty. You guys get for say. But I don't see you over here. Even some of us over here, did we go home and bring anybody with us? If not, I encourage you, bring them. Bring them for the rest of the week until this decision is made. I am against SB1, strongly against this. And I also oppose this process. This is a joke.
Thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
Next, please.
Aloha. My name is Benjamin Kapuakanahele Weiss. Number 4128 for you that take numbers. I oppose this bill not the people. I am a husband of one beautiful wife. You just saw her. You know her name. I know what aloha is. I am a father of 4 beautiful children who do their best to do what is right, respect, and honor their kupuna. As I said on Monday to the Senate, at the Senate hearing, don't push my buttons. And they did. I've taken off 3 days of work. No pay. The bottom line is, the Queen stood for her people. Can you stop the clock?
I'm sorry, for what purpose do you want to stop the clock?
Because I cannot speak right now.
Well, let us take somebody else while you're gathering yourself. Next, please. 32, how much time was left? 40 seconds, okay. Please proceed.
Hi, my name is James Mahilona. My number is 4129, and I oppose same-sex marriage. I'm a father of 7 children and 16 grandchildren, and I believe in marriage of one man, one woman. And we look upon the decisions that you would make to consider the multiple cries and the outreach of our Hawaiian people that we're against same-sex marriage. We know that the consequences is going to happen. It's not seen now, but it will happen later. The consequences that we will face in our community in the state of Hawaii. And I pray that, like our Queen, Liliuokalani, she became a Christian, and the things that she believed in through Christianity that would help us to bring love and aloha in a biblical sense. And I'd just like to say that our motto of the Hawaiian state is that the life of the land will be perpetuated in righteousness, and to be pono with our community, with our elected officials that would help us to succeed what we believe. And we just hope that the consequences of the decisions would be up to you folks. So we stand over here as the people of Hawaii to cry out and lift up our voices and hold up our banners high for the same-sex marriage, one man, one woman. So we do a lot of prison ministry work too as well. We've seen the defect of not having a father and a mother in the family. It's only going to enhance and make it worse for our children that's been raised up without a father and a mother. I oppose of these decisions, and I hope that you decide with the decisions that you make that would affect our island. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Weiss, do you want your time now, or do you want to wait? Okay, next please.
My name is Donna Guan, and my number is 4145. Dear Honorable Chairs Rhodes and Luke and members of the committee, first of all, I want to genuinely show my appreciation to all of you for your unending service this week. I don't have much to say, but what I have to say is I stand here as a registered voter in strong opposition to SB1. My heart has been in such turmoil this past week because I see the division, the anger, and the bitterness that have developed between our people in Hawaii over this issue. As our representatives, shouldn't you represent us, the people? The people of Hawaii are saying no over and over again, but why is this bill advancing so quickly out of the people's control? I'm not one to impose my values and beliefs on another, but I am one that wishes and expects respect for the values that I vow to live by. My parents have spent more than half their lives teaching me invaluable lessons about how I should lead my life. Will I get that same opportunity with my future children? Can I protect my children from having to reenact marriages with someone of the same gender? Or will I be punished for teaching them that marriage is a special union between only one man and one woman? SB1 does not protect me nor my future children from possible litigations that may target us because we so deeply want to hold on to our personal values, beliefs, and morals. You have heard over and over again of the detrimental effects that this bill has on our children. Let's not be a state that does not learn from the mistakes of others. I care for our Keiki and families of Hawaii. Now show that you, our representatives, do too by voting no to SB1. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Weiss, did you want to take your rest of your time? Okay. Next witness then. Ma'am.
Hello. How's this? Okay. Judith Anderson, number 4037. Thank you, everybody. Mahalo for all the time it's taken to hear all the testimonies. For those of us who are passionately against passing this bill, I just wanted to share, you've heard all the rhetoric. There's been a lot of rhetoric, a lot on both sides. And I would just like to ask you to remember that you didn't create marriage, I didn't create marriage. Government didn't create marriage. And so marriage is special and sanctified, and it should stay that way, a man and a woman. Now, the civil unions and all the monies that have been appropriated and all the fairness that has been accomplished a few years ago with the passage of civil unions and so forth, that's good, of course. So the marriage itself is a man and a woman. So with the civil unions, the passage of all of the benefits and so forth, then the question from people like myself is, so why are we in this war? Why are we in this war? If you have the money and the benefits that you want, why are we in this war? Well, you don't want to hear about the Bible, the B-I-B-L-E, and I understand that. But God mandated marriage. So, okay. Now, there's something I want to go to real quickly. I'm in my 60s now, but when I was a teenager in high school and college, in the 60s, I was in love with a black man named Henry. I still know his family very well. They're in Minneapolis, where I was born. And I was pregnant at 18 years of age, and he's black. I'm white, as you can see. I still am. And we were not going to make it as a couple. So I gave her up for adoption, the baby. I just met her 5 years ago. I was very much a part of the civil rights issues in the 60s, very much a part of the civil rights issues. This is not a civil rights issue. I understand the civil rights issues. I lived it. Thank you very much, everybody. Mahalo for how you're trying to listen to us. Mahalo that you're trying to listen to us. Mahalo.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Sorry, I gotta try and hold back my emotions, but I should just read. The bottom line is, my queen stood for her people, and now I stand for mine. The people spoke on Monday and are still speaking. In 1998, the power was given to the legislature to reserve marriage between one man and one woman. My recollection of what reserve means is just what it states here. We could not sit in those seats unless you had a speech number. You could not sit in the seats in the front unless you were a legislator. So the power to reserve that means to only the people that you made the sign for. If anybody understand what I'm saying. You reserve a table at the party, it's for that family, nobody else. So you can twist the words all you want for those of you who are in favor of this. Sneaky behind people's back, behind closed doors. That's not Pono, that's not Hawaiian. Come to me and I tell you to your face what I'm gonna do. Stop being underhanded. This bill is tearing Hawaiians apart. Fighting on the streets last night, yelling at each other. That's not Pono. So don't be influenced by those in authority over you to make you choose something that is not pono in you. Make the right decision. There was a quote said one time, a country divided against itself cannot stand. A house divided against itself cannot stand. A state divided cannot stand.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Chair Luke and members of the committee, my name is Lisa Yoshimura, number 4368. I strongly oppose SB1 primarily because any legislation that violates God's laws for our lives will never work and will be inherently flawed. For this reason, no law promoting the homosexual lifestyle can ever be written with reasonable clarity or effectively implemented, even if it is based on decisions by the highest court in our nation. States which allow same-sex marriage are warning us of how their laws are destroying their freedom, religious freedom, and eroding the very fabric of their society. This has resulted in endless contentious battles in their courts, families, schools, and businesses. Tragically, legal battles have even ensued over students receiving inappropriate homosexual information that can sear their innocent minds. When our legislators raise questionable issues in SB1, the State Attorney General and the Civil Rights Commissioner stated or inferred that the courts would need to decide on those matters. How sound can this law be if so much of it must be left to the courts to decide? It is inconceivable how any lawmaker with any integrity can risk supporting a bill of such critical consequences to the entire state of Hawaii with only a few days of legislative discussion. Furthermore, convening this special session and circumventing our democratic process with the obvious intent of passing this bill in 5 days is an affront to the people of Hawaii who elected you. SB1 can hardly be championed a bill of equality. I strongly urge you to vote no to SB1 and to allow we the people the opportunity to vote on traditional marriage in Hawaii by way of a constitutional amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Nagasako, and my number is 4372. Thank you for this opportunity to testify on SB1, which I am opposed to for a number of reasons. The first and foremost being that Almighty God, the creator of our universe, also created the institution of marriage to be the union between a man and a woman. And since none of us here today is God, who are we to change his definition of marriage? Sadly, there are some who are battling to do just that. One concern that has been continually voiced is the impact that redefining marriage will have on our children in the public schools in the area of sex education. In the Senate, it was disheartening to hear parental concerns being dismissed because, as we were told, what happened in Massachusetts or Canada will not happen here in our schools. However, in an article published by the National Conference of State Legislatures titled State Policies on Sex Education in Schools, Hawaii is identified as having legislation for required sex education in our public schools waiting in the wings. One of the bills, SB 389, titled Keiki Caucus, Comprehensive Sex Education, is described in the article as requiring DOE-operated elementary through high schools to provide sexuality health education beginning next year, and is designed to permeate any and all subjects as deemed appropriate by the teacher. I ask that you research this bill and think about the moral and academic costs of implementing such a program. The teachers have declared that they do not want to teach it, and with an estimated 6,000 students dropping out of school in Hawaii this year, sex education should not be the priority for our Keiki o Ka'aina. It's a sobering thought that the students you educate today will one day craft the laws, both good and bad, that you and I will have to live by. I respectfully ask that you vote no on SB1. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up.
Hello, my name is Pupa Kamuali Hulehe. I oppose this bill because for safety and health reason.
And your number,
And-
please?
Beg your pardon?
Your number.
My number, 38. Oh, that's my IQ. Wait. 2527.
What was that? 2527?
2527. Okay, I oppose this bill because safety and health reason. Because I had a situation. Not really. 4527. Pupulia.
4527 members.
Yeah, Buli, Mamuli, and Kaloe. I had an incident. That's why I get friends the other side. You know what I mean? Family, everything. But I'm just thinking about the safety and health of everybody, and mostly Hawaiian. And you guys over here sitting down. I can see kapunas a little bit, but I think all the kapunas should be sitting down over here. The Hawaiians. Because I think this is illegal. So, but anyway, I'm going to show aloha, and I'm not going to be that kind like how I was raised in Palolo Valley, Palolo housing, because I'm going to get real Mumuli, Kalohe, all that. But anyway, this is illegal what you guys doing. I grew up, and I got, like I said, one incident down Queen Surf. So I get hurt there. And good thing I don't remember, because I think that guy went do something where I never remember. I was, dazed. So the safety and health issue is very important, because I don't blame my friends, my other relatives did like that, because maybe something won't happen. So we got to study more on this kind of stuff. Take your time. Live aloha. Aloha is to be patient and safety and health first for the aina, the people, everybody. Huh? It's your guys' job. You ask permission to we vote you guys. Oh, yeah, but I never vote, but I just made kapuna, and I'm happy they call me uncle. I feel real good. I feel that spirit. And like I said, I go to school, eat lunch, shoot crap, and look at the girls. That's all I did. Good thing I never get propaganda from the education, because we're supposed to learn our Hawaiian history first. But anyway, aloha and aloha life. Aloha life. Mahalo.
Thank you. Next up.
Oh, cue the bill, brother. Cue the bill.
Aloha, my name is Venus Dela Cruz. My number is 4494.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Return in time. I didn't even get to talk yet. Have you ever been in a discussion with a friend and suddenly he makes an uncomfortable remark about your mother? Or have you ever been cutting up with your buddies and they make a lewd reference to your wife? How about you're in a heated exchange with someone and they threaten your children? There are some things in our lives that are such high value that they are worth defending. Some things are so taboo that you just don't go there. No matter how imperfect they may be, or how dysfunctional they may appear, or even how broken or painful or troubled they've been, they are yours. They are the reason you live and persevere and hope and sacrifice. They are the investment of the sum of the total of your being. They are family. Ideally, marriage is the sacred foundation that family is conceived, developed, and nurtured on. It is on a lateral plane. Our generational heritage is on a vertical plane. Each generation a testament of the legacy of our ancestors' marriage unions. Marriage is sacred. This is worth defending. If you disrupt the sacred balance of this divinely treasured institution by engrafting an additional secular derivative, you topple the first fundamental foundation of our society. Same-sex marriage, according to its exclusive title, must exclude a husband. It must exclude a wife. In order to perpetuate a family, it must exclude a father. It must exclude a mother. Even if their goal of marital status is achieved by litigation, they must still and forever clarify their distinction from conventional couples. Mark 10:9, what therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone with numbers 4600 to 4800, please report to the reception desk. And anyone with 4800 to 5,000. Please start gathering outside. Thank you. Next up.
Aloha, my name is Savannah Sato, and my number is 4495. I'm a senior in high school, the second eldest of 6 children, and I'm homeschooled. I'm against SB number 1. My family and I came down to the Capitol on Thursday, and after hearing the testimonies from my parents and from the people who oppose this bill, I decided to give my own testimony. I am the fruit of a loving and faithful marriage between my father and my mother. My parents raised and nurtured not only me, but my sister and my 4 brothers. To have a mother and a father is something irreplaceable because I needed both of them in different areas of my life. My father is my protector, an example of what kind of man to look for in my future husband. And my mother is my emotional support and my teacher on how to be a woman. This role, if taken by my father, would have been awkward for me. And I'm sure it would have been awkward for my older brother, who is 18 and in college, to be taught how to be a man by my mother. My dad always said, just because you can do it doesn't make it right. I urge you to please vote no, as it is evident that the majority of the people of Hawaii do not want you to make this decision for us. These are the people who have been denied the right to speak in proxy or in person. Leslie Among, who lives in Waikiki, Alfred and Helene Wong, Chase Sato, who live in Eva Beach, Stacia Maldonado, Alfred Maldonado, who live in Waianae, Darren Wong, Francine Wong, Pua Baker, who live in Honolulu, Lorna Miyamoto, Steve Miyamoto, Ronald Ronquillo, Joyce Ronquillo, Vivian Sato, Pro City, Paula, Robert Villaverde, and Becky Lake, Eva Beach, Bob Lake, Kaneohe, Ashley Gullett, Joni Makia, Thomas Makia, and Angelica Merlos, Becca Falk, Luke Hake, Nicole and Justin Uejo, Mona Gallego, Eva Beach, Scotty Gonzalez, Kelly Gonzalez, Rhonda White, Jennifer Ernst, Paris Ernst, Cassie Ernst, Robin Camacho, Galo Camacho, Anna Deverall, Rob Deverall, Roxanne Rohr.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, please.
My name is Hua He, and my number is 4867. I'm an associate professor of economics, living in Kamuki. In economics, every choice is a trade-off. Have you assessed the potential economic losses if we pass this bill? Probably not. Why not? Because our governor thinks number doesn't count. And I'm here to tell you number does matter. In 2000, this bill will cause significant economic losses for the state of Hawaii. In 2012, 700,000 people came to Hawaii for their honeymoon and weddings. And more than 60% are from Asia. And who spends the most money? Chinese, $397, Japanese, $310. And how about people from the United States, West, only $155? And if we pass this bill, Hawaii becomes the paradise for gays and lesbians. And the typical Asian families, husband and wife, children, grandpa, grandma, they may not choose not to come to Hawaii, go to other places. Because family and traditional marriage is the core value of Asian culture. And there are thousands of Asian students studying at the local college and private schools. Their parents are worried about 2 things: drug use and homosexual activity. So if we pass this bill, a lot of them definitely will not send their kids to Hawaii. Even a 2% loss decline in the number of tourists and students may result in more than $500 million economic losses for the 3 years between 2014 and 2016. So think about the millions of jobs that we're going to lose and 1,000 people that will be jobless. Please vote for no.
Thank you. And anyone with testifier numbers all the way to 5184, please report to the reception desk. At this point in time, we will take questions from members.
I have a question.
Representative Har.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hui, can you come back? Wait, stop him, stop him.
sure he understands he's in it for questions too.
They've been telling him, though.
Oh. I just wanted to get a copy of his data, that's all. Sean, can you just ask him if he could drop that up? Because his written testimony is not online.
Madam Chair, I have a question to the gentleman.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, I have a question to the
Representative
gentleman, other than dropping off his testimony.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
But he has not reappeared.
Oh, the man that...
Yeah, exactly. We'll wait to see if he's there.
Yeah, he rushed out. They're trying to get him back.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Representative McDermott.
I've got a question. When the testifiers are all done, and we seem to be getting close to the end, will we have an opportunity, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make an opportunity before we adjourn for a 5-day recess at the appropriate time.
Oh, what was that?
At the appropriate time, before we adjourn the committee, before you guys go back and we do the sorting out process, I'd like the opportunity just to make a motion for a 5-day recess in accordance with the state constitution, so we can go back and talk to our constituents and have some time to digest all this information. I don't expect to be successful, but I just like the opportunity to do so. And I'll be nice when I do it and do it with a smile.
Yeah. Clearly, the Judiciary Committee and the Finance Committee is not the appropriate forum, because we can choose to recess, but the rest of the House, I mean, that's up to the Speaker. So if you can take it up with the Speaker's office, because we don't have the authority to make that decision.
Perhaps we are standing committees year-round, so perhaps we may be able to recess for 5 days and come back. Perhaps not. I don't know. The rules seem, I'm learning the rules after 10 years away, but they do seem rather fungible in a wide array of matters. But I just want to get on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Did the gentleman come back? Wait, hold on. Okay, Representative Fale.
Madam Chair, I have one question for Kupu'uka Nahere. Is he still here?
The staff is alerted to let the testifiers know that they should be available for questions. So.
Oh, okay.
I think he's coming up.
Thank you for staying. I appreciate it. We've gotten to know each other as I've walked by you these past few days in the hall. Is that your kids or your nieces and nephews, the ones sleeping? I know you guys late at night.
That's my kids.
That's your kids. I just had the question of the personal economic costs that you've gone through this process, because I know you're not unique. There's been many other families that have made those sacrifices, and if you can just maybe help us understand what exactly it is you sacrificed to be here through this process.
I sacrifice not paying my bills, my mortgage. Even my children, my youngest, he's supposed to be in school. If he takes off of school or is absent from school for 2 days, for 4 days out of the entire year, he can lose his position in that school. I think he's been here 2 days.
So
3 days. Sorry, 3 days.
And that's because you feel that this issue is that important.
Right. It is. I had a lot more to say in the minimal amount of time that we have, and as you know, Hawaiians, we're more emotional than all waha, which is what this bill is to me, is waha.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your sacrifices. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Otherwise, we're gonna let these testifiers go. Thank you for coming today. Next up, please come up.
Aloha.
Aloha.
My name is Xian Gang Li. My number is 4920. I'm a professional engineer and a professional hydrologist, and also a father of 2 lovely children. I'm from China, and my traditional cultural value tells me to say no to SB1. In our engineering field, there is a very popular terminology called sustainable development, which is related to our common future. The definition is sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The SB1 is definitely an unsustainable development for our human beings in Hawaii. I'm very concerning the consequence of this bill. All public schools in Hawaii would face to change educational styles. For example, currently in Massachusetts and California schools are implementing so-called bathroom bill, which opens girls' bathroom to boys, invites privacy, and threatens all students' safety. I'm scared this happened in our public school in Hawaii and have no idea how to protect our vulnerable children. So there are so many other issues in Hawaii legislators should pay more attention on, such as improve our pool zone, upgrade the aged water and wastewater infrastructure. So for our common futures, I urge you to kill this bill or at least to let people vote. The traditional marriage.
Okay, thank you very
much.
Thank you. Next up, please. And again, this is a reminder that anyone with 4801 to end of 5184, please report to the reception desk right away. Thank you.
Aloha. Thank you for sitting there listening. My number is 4833. My name is Wei Chen. I'm civil engineer, a father of 3 children, and a husband of 1 woman. I originally came from China. I'm a registered voter in Makiki area. I'm here to present my whole family. We have heard many arguments against SB1 and arguments supporting SB1. How can we deal with this important matter? We need to come to common ground. For a democratic country, the greatest common ground is to let people to vote. Put this item on election ballot, let voter decide on marriage. Whether you oppose or support the same-sex marriage, your vote is equal. As a matter of fact, we already voted this in 1998. So why we have this as one bill? I don't understand. So for this reason, I say no to SB1. I suggest the representatives go back to their districts and to meet with their voters to discuss the issue. There are so many concerns, so many questions. Why rush? Two biggest concerns I have are religion freedom and the future of children. SB1 opened the door for church to be sued for what they believe. SB1 also opened the door for our children to accept same-sex education in public school. I want to say this. It takes a man to be a husband and a father, a woman to be a wife and mother. I can't imagine what kind of future we will have if our children grow up in an environment without gender difference. For this reason, I say no to SB1. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Claire Harris, and my number is 4890, and I'm a registered voter from the 25th District. I'm here in strong support of SB1. Over and over again, opponents to SB1 have declared that marriage is a sacred institution which must be protected. They have repeatedly stated that to alter the institution of marriage is an attack on religion. I'm here to dispute these claims. The way in which marriage is conducted and its rules and ramifications have changed over time, as has the institution itself. In the Bible, marriage was often between one man and multiple women. In the Middle Ages, marriage was about convenience, power, and traditional gender roles. And in the modern era, the definition and understanding of marriage continues to change. Marriage is now viewed as a vital stepping stone on the path to the American dream. From a young age, children are exposed to the rhetoric that once you fall in love, you should get married, have a family, and live happily ever after. Unfortunately, marriage is only an option for specific groups in our society, thus creating a hierarchy in which minority groups are systematically disadvantaged. It is time that we stop playing politics with people's lives. We've reached equality in so many aspects of our society: equality in what men and women are allowed to do, equality in the workforce, and equality between races. The obvious next step is equality for all committed, loving couples, regardless of sexual orientation. The role of government is neither to enforce their own moral values as law, nor to deprive their constituents of their religious liberties. However, what the public must understand is that the freedom to practice your religion does not reign supreme over any other beliefs or morals. To state that religious beliefs prohibiting same-sex marriage should impact the legislature's decision to pass SB1 is not only a misunderstanding of the United States Constitution, but is also ignorant of the LGBT experience. It is time that we stop tolerating certain groups' hyperbolic, hypocritical fear of the LGBT community and instead treat all citizens fairly, justly, and with aloha. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, please.
Hi, I'm Cooper, and my number is 4828. I am a student at UH Manoa. I am 20 years old, and as a young man, I hope to be starting a family in the near future. For that, I stand here in opposition of SB1 for the sake of my children. I recently went to a presentation laying out the effects of the homosexual bill passed in Canada on the education system. The curriculum states that children will begin to learn sexual education in grade 1, starting with identification of genitalia, and then sexual orientation and gender identity in the following year. When I was in 6th grade, we began learning of sex for the sake of science and safety, not identity. And in Massachusetts, there was a superintendent that ordered his teachers not to notify the parents of when they started their sexual awareness courses. Shouldn't it be to the discretion of the parents to decide if their children is ready to learn such complex and mature values? Will I be forced to have the birds and bees conversation with my son before he even hits puberty? Or will I have to talk to my daughter about pregnancy before she even has her first period? Or will I even have the opportunity to bond with my kids over these subjects? Or is the education system going to have to take that away from me for the sake of this bill? I'm a Christian, standing here inspired by my faith in God to stand on behalf of my children and the next generation. And with that being said, I actually cut out a lot of stuff from my speech to just say that you guys up there are doing an awesome job, and thank you so much for listening to us. It takes a lot of honor and merit, or it deserves a lot of honor and merit to sit up there for hours patiently listening to us. So thank you guys very much. You guys are doing an awesome job, and you're almost done with this part, so yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Sorry, and I even wore heels today. Aloha. Aloha. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Tara O'Neill. I am number 4907. I stand on my written testimony with the following additions. I am testifying today on behalf of myself, but with the knowledge that comes from my role as a professor of education at UH Manoa and 14 years of being an education professional. Statements as this bill will impact education are inaccurate for three main reasons. First, there is no portion of this legislation that mandates change to education curriculum. Second, the Hawaii Board of Education and Department of Education policy mandates that all curriculum must be standards-based. Review of the Common Core, Next Generation Science, and HICCUPS 3 standards reveal that the only content area that addresses sexuality education is health education. As such, teachers of any content area outside of health education have no cause to address such issues. In relation to health education, we are an abstinence-based state. This means that the primary education related to sex is don't have sex at all. However, as an abstinence-based state, we also recognize that not all students will practice abstinence, and thus educate students about the protections and precautions that need to be taken if they are engaging in sexual activity. In no health education standard do teachers address the how-tos of sex. In addition, parents have the option to pull their child out of the small portion of health class that addresses prevention and protection, just as a woman who testified earlier against this bill has done. I have a number of colleagues in Massachusetts. I have reviewed the sex education policy. In Massachusetts, sex education is not mandated, and when sex and/or HIV education does occur, parents must be notified and can opt out. Third, enactment of civil unions did not alter education policy or curriculum, nor will this. Please pass SB1 unamended. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Good afternoon, Chairpersons Luke and Rhodes. He's not here.
Can you talk into the mic?
My name is Erin Ikeda. I am in strong opposition to SB1. My number is 4980. Please have faith in your constituents to decide this bill, which will have a ripple effect into all our posterity. Please take time to study the hard facts of the outcome of this type of law in other states. I don't understand why we can't work together to fix the civil union law to accommodate the equality of civil rights, benefits, protections, and responsibilities that are sought by the LGBT. Take the time a decision of this magnitude deserves. Please hear the convictions of your constituents. Please give yourselves time to evaluate all the information that was presented to you this session. Also, study and research how deep the effects of a law like this has had on the states that currently have them. Please vet out the proposed bill so that we need not revisit this. Can the civil union law be amended to include the rights, responsibilities, benefits, protections that are sought? As it now is, it seems people will have to choose between their core values and beliefs and their livelihood, job of service. The definition of marriage is a religious institution. The civil union term can be adopted by the LGBT community to be defined as a legal binding union of two consenting adults, not less than marriage at all, but at a different definition that defines what they want. Parents should be allowed the right to regulate what their children are being taught in respect to their chosen family values. Will this law mean that grandparents or aunties or friends will be able to get married if they so choose for financial reasons under the proposed law? Please allow yourselves to vote down this bill in the spirit of deciding to use the vehicle already in place, the civil union law, that can be tuned up to work as if the LGBT would like their rights to be given. Thank you for hearing my testimony.
Thank you very much. Next up, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Rob Espinosa, number 4996. Thank you, committee chairs and members. I oppose SB1. Why are we here? Why are we in special session? Because of a governor and a Senate that decided to subvert the will of the people, that's why. Governor Abercrombie is a skilled politician, and he is treating Hawaii as if he were in Washington. What Hawaii must keep and not lose sight of is the original intent of the 1998 amendment, which was marriage between a man and a woman. What the governor and attorney general have done is wrong, a fast and furious charade. The Senate's treatment of its constituency is reprehensible, exhibiting contempt for those opposed showing up to testify. Governor Abercrombie and his political apparatus in the Senate cunningly made the first draft of the legislation really bad. In fact, it stinks. He backed the opposed into a corner, knowing we would be dissatisfied with the first draft regarding the public accommodations and its effect on churches, their preschools, and families. And then we hear the Attorney General address you about a week ago, saying that public accommodations would not apply to churches. This can be seen as accept same-sex marriage or face lawsuits, be seen as uncompromising bigots, or as the governor calls us, the drama. This is Washington politics at its best, bait and switch, and as with Obamacare, authoritarian leadership. I decide, not you. It wasn't long ago that the governor attempted to tax pensions, and only when the backlash became gravely negative did he back off. SB1 counters the 1998 constitutional amendment, and this governor and legislature have taken it upon themselves to dictate to the Hawaii people who oppose it. People of Hawaii, how much longer will you take this form of leadership? You voted them in, vote them out. Petition your legislators to enact legislation now. Recall the governor and those that vote
Thank you
against
very
the will of the
much.
people.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Hi, my name is Janine Ibanez. I'm number 5075. I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It. It's just a song by one of the most famous recording artists today. Along with other songs like that, music can be so influential, especially on the youth. There are so many influences today that require me to ask more of myself as a parent. For example, excessive gaming, social networking, and peer pressures. The last thing I want to worry about is what my kids are learning in the community and at school. Should SB1 pass, this would be of great concern to me considering what has happened in Massachusetts public school system. With that said, I'm a child of God, I'm a wife, I am a mother of 7 children, I'm a teacher for the state of Hawaii. I am Hawaiian, I'm from Waianae, and I vote. From the many hats that I wear, I see daily how kids, students, are so easily influenced. If children don't have the right foundation, they will succumb to bad decisions that will lead to life or death. Just like smoking and alcohol are gateway drugs, so is the passing of SB1 to a homosexual lifestyle that is considered sin. Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." As you can tell, I am opposed to SB1 and encourage you to do the same. With that said, I've been here from Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I've brought my children. They're at school today. And this is something very meaningful to me and my family. And thank you for hearing my testimony, and have a good day.
Thank you very much. Next up, please.
My name is Jonathan Kamai. My number is 5107. I live in Pauoa. Of course, Representative Luke, that's the district. That's your district. Being mindful of every individual participating in these hearings, I'll try my best to articulate and share what's on my heart. I am in strong opposition of this bill, SB1. By now, you've heard extensive oppositional testimony, so much so that I have little to add. Over the past week, there have been testimonies concerning education, parental rights, the effects due to the law in Canada and other states, issues on Hawaiian homes, Kamehameha schools, churches and followers of different faiths, inseverability clauses, the handling of this bill, etc. All of which I hope will contribute to the stopping of this bill. For me, opposing this bill means just that. Many questions have already been raised concerning the language in this bill. Why would you want to pass a bill that would afford rights to one group that could take away rights from another? Can we agree that there are some holes in this bill? Why not write another one? One that will work for all of us. I have to believe that can be done. Can I just make it clear, I'm against this bill, not the people who support it. We just disagree. I'm 50 years old, I have 3 daughters. I've been a working musician for 32 years. I'm Native Hawaiian, Native American, English, Irish, Scottish. I don't know whether or not any of these personal declarations matter. I would like to believe that every citizen matters. Therefore, every opinion and piece of presented information matters. Please show me that I matter by saying no to this bill. Please show me that we all matter by working on a new one.
Okay,
Thank you.
you very much. Next up, please.
Aloha mai kākou. My number is 4,999. My name is Kimo Kaleohano. I'm the son of James Kaleohano Jr., grandson of James Kaleohano Sr., and the father of La'akea Kaleohano. I am Kanaka Maoli. I live in Waimanalo and I do vote. By now you have heard thousands of people, your constituents, speak in opposition to this bill. Unfortunately, what appears that some of you have already made up your minds. You're going to vote how you're going to vote, regardless of what the people whom you swore you would represent are telling you. I pray that I'm wrong, that you will fulfill your sacred kuleana, and that this is not the legislative equivalent of a kangaroo court. I heard one of you state that putting this issue on the ballot for the people to decide is not that simple. To you, I asked that if a train can be placed on the ballot, then why not an issue that at its core will literally change the fabric of Hawaiian society? This is exactly what redefining marriage will do. Some are saying that the '98 vote gave you, the legislature, the power to define marriage. To you, I say that as ho'opunipuni. It's a lie and a twisting of the clear intent of the people. You are representatives, not activists. Some are saying that the minorities' rights are never gained by popular vote. To you, I say that freeing slaves, desegregation, or allowing women's voices to be heard did not disenfranchise any other religion or the rest of society as a whole. You need to lohilalo, slow down, stop running through the forest with your eyes closed just to get to the other side. A proper balance can be attained for both sides. Finally, as a Native Hawaiian, I ask, how much more can we give? Or maybe more appropriately, how much more will you take from the Hawaiian people? Now you will possibly allow the right to our own koko to be taken away through ambiguous language in this bill. If there is one word, phrase, unintended, unforeseen consequence in this bill that could possibly cause harm to one more Native Hawaiian, then the protections in this bill are woefully inadequate and must be revisited.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, this next testifier is the last of the round two. At this time, I would like to invite anyone who missed another chance to testify. However, we are going to reassess if it goes over 2 o'clock because I think the committee heard 5 days of testimony and we would like to start deliberating on our decision. So Sergeant at Arms and the staff, if you could start lining up people who have missed their chance, and this is your last opportunity to testify. Thank you very much. And again, we are going to see at 2 p.m. whether we want to continue the hearing or we can start the deliberation. Okay, please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Jill Yoshi Sato, and my number is 5178. I was born, raised, and married here in Hawaii and currently live in Kailua. I work as a small animal veterinarian, and I am an active member of Kaka'ako Christian Fellowship. I believe in God, and I find my salvation only possible through my faith in God's grace given through Jesus Christ. I support the passage of SB1 to recognize marriage and grant the same rights and responsibilities of marriage to same-sex couples. I believe same-sex couples deserve the equal right to make the same commitment to each other and enjoy the same commitment benefits as opposite-sex couples. I believe society will benefit from supporting marriage commitment between individuals and the creation of stable family units. I believe supporting same-sex marriage is not in opposition to my desire to live according to God's principles. Jesus loved and served all sinners equally. He summed up all the Old Testament laws into 2 commandments: love God and love your neighbor as yourself. I am not afraid of gay people getting married or my children being gay. I am afraid of what is happening in God's church when it puts more focus on judging others' sin and discriminating against them rather than loving indiscriminately as Jesus did. I am also supportive of the bill's protection for ministers who refuse to solemnize marriage for any reason and the newly worded exemption for religious organizations and facilities. I find these sections to adequately protect a minister's or church's freedom of religion while not infringing upon the equal rights already protected by our discriminatory practices prohibition in Hawaii Statute Section 489-3. I believe it is entirely appropriate for a legislative body to determine rights for minorities. Individual rights should not be put to a public vote, nor should any majority be able to vote away the rights of a minority. Thank you for your hard work and patience during this special session. I hope you all support the passing of this important equal rights bill.
Thank you very much. Is the next testifier ready?
My name is David Ray Fulmer, number 377, and I am from the North Shore of Oahu.
I'm sorry, can you say the number again?
3777.
Okay.
I want to tell a quick story. I come from a long line of Americans. There's a story in my family of my great-great-great auntie going to a ball right before the Continental Congress and dancing in her wedding gown with General George Washington. And she, in her story, she mentioned on what a great man of humility and integrity that General Washington was. Later, because they would not listen to the tyranny of the British, her husband and my great-great-grandfather were rounding up settlers to come fight in this new war after the Continental Congress. And she mentioned there was 2 prized possessions that she had. There were her 3 prized possessions. They were her family, her little children, as she was hiding out in a cave. And there was 2 other possessions. It was the Bible and the Declaration of Independence. And over the years, from that moment until now, we have all fought for one thing in this great country. One amazing thing that allows us to all be here today, and that is freedom. It is the dog that wags the tail, not the tail that wags the dog. And you, my representatives who are here today, you are the tail. The dog has spoken. The people of Hawaii have voted. They have said no. And if you want to talk about it again, allow us to come together as a people and exercise our freedom and vote, every one of us. Do not ram this down our throat. Do not force us to be a part of something that we wish that we don't have to be a part of. Please keep and instill the rights of freedom into our people and into this great country so that we can pass on freedom, not opinions, but freedom to choose if we need this. Aloha.
Thank you very much. Next up.
My number is 3357. My name is Emily Murphy. I would just like to say I'm in college. I have a lot of great professors, and I ran into one of mine this morning, and he, in my evolution class that I studied last summer, we talked about all the different things when it comes to adaptation and why species, what they do and how they do, and humankind and all those type of things. And there's so much research out there. Science is constantly changing. Let's say I gave you a stack, a paper, a stack, and I said, this is 50 years from now, and children that grow up in a gay or lesbian home, let's say that they are more financially, more emotionally stable. Let's just say we have the research, the science that says that. Science is constantly changing. The voice that you're hearing, we don't base the things that we believe on science. It is constantly changing. You know that. They just stopped having people let blood out of their arms or drill holes in people's heads to try to save them. You are asking us, you're putting our religion right here and our government right here, and you're surprised. We will follow our religion. We will follow our faith because it is our faith that even has us standing here today. Do you not understand the reason why we even fought for the things that we fought? Why my ancestors fought in the American Revolution was so that we could have freedom of religion. And you treat it as if it's nothing. You treat it as if it's small. That is the whole reason why we have a constitution. And it is not for you guys to define it or redefine it. It's for you to uphold that constitution. You may not like the way that I live. You may not believe in it. But it is my right and my freedom to do so. And I don't want you to vote yes on this. You want us to trust that you won't use loopholes when this very process is a loophole. Help us to restore our faith in you, because we have our faith in God, and that will not budge.
Okay, next up, please.
Hi, my number is 3642. My name is Nick Tom. I'm 19 years old, and I'm a registered voter. I'm a full-time student at Leeward Community College, and I'm proud of it. Today, I would like to share with you several points that best reflect how I feel about the issue at hand. First of all, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to be able to express my opinions. I feel like as someone who is a U.S. citizen and of the younger generation, it is important for me to do so because I'm the future. I'm not going to lie that when I first was considering giving testimony, I was intimidated and I was scared. I thought that because I was young and inexperienced that maybe my opinion wouldn't matter. But as I studied in school about people like John Locke and Henry David Thoreau and Frederick Douglass, these people, they were students at one time, they were young, they stood up for what they believed was right, and they made a positive difference. So with that as inspiration, I would just like to take ownership as a U.S. citizen and express how I feel. Second of all, I would like to say that I'm in opposition of SB1. I'm against this bill because I feel like if it is passed, it will shape a future that will not be fit for me to raise a family in. I'm a young adult, and as I get older, the more I think about what it will mean to start a family and to have children of my own. And it gets me really excited. But I've been to sessions where people have shared how legalizing of same-sex marriage has influenced society and made it more difficult for them to raise their children. For example, in Canada, it's come to a point where bathrooms are no longer separated male and female, but regardless of your gender, you're able to go into any bathroom you want. I would not feel comfortable raising my children in an environment like this, because I would not want my child going to a bathroom knowing that there's someone of the same sex, the opposite sex in there with them. I feel like it opens doors to a lot of harm coming to my children, especially if it was my daughter. And I feel like these can be avoided just by not passing this bill. Another example is how they have begun to implement sexual orientation classes as early as first grade or third grade, and they teach that your sexual orientation is a choice. I feel like this is way too early to be able to be giving these things to children, but for the future generations, I oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this point, we'll take questions from the members. Representative McDermott.
Thank you. Could I have the education professor come back up? Thank you so very much. And for fear of receiving a scalpel in the back of my head from my colleagues, I will not ask you about Dick and Jane. Is that okay?
I would really appreciate that because it's a stupid question.
We all appreciate that.
When did you sign up to testify?
I submitted my written testimony in writing only because I actually didn't think I'd be able to be down here in person. I didn't realize it'd go on for 5 days of lunacy. But I came down, I guess, Thursday night and put in my when I heard the lies being said about the impacts on education, first elsewhere, and certainly what it would do to education here, I felt the need to speak up, and so I put my name in to testify then in person.
Thank you so much for your time. And by the way, how many hours have you waited?
So what you're getting at is that this has taken long, and has that been worth it, and is this bad for the people? And here's what I'll say to you. Everybody's asking for a really fair process, and I think
politely
this has
asked
been
how
remarkably
long.
fair.
I politely asked how long you've waited.
You know, I didn't calculate the hours. Justice takes time, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I think that these two committees have done a really wonderful job of hearing everybody's voice and giving ample opportunity for people's voice. So thank you very much.
Okay, so no answer. What is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's in science from Colby College, a master's in science education and biochemistry from Columbia, and a PhD in science education also from Columbia.
Okay, so you're an expert in education, and it has taken effort on your part to be here. You've waited quite some time. Can you illuminate for me, perhaps, why the superintendent of education has not shown up?
Because this is not an education bill.
Well, can I finish my question, please? Or why the Board of Education chairman hasn't shown up?
Because this is not an education bill.
If for no other reason than to dispel my ignorance.
I don't know if she can answer that.
I'm going to be good here. And I'm just going to say to you, they have no need or presence to be here because this is not an education bill. This bill is not about education policy. This bill is not about education enactment. This bill is not about what happens or is taught in our classrooms. This is not how our education policy is, in fact, even decided. This was not an education bill. They have no need to be here. The only reason I felt the need to be here as an individual who happens to be an expert in education is because there were such rampant lies about what this will do to education and to our children that with my expertise, I felt the need to speak up and just correct some lies. You can like or not like same-sex marriage. You can not or not like people, but you have to speak truth. And that's why I've decided to testify.
I do not dispute your concerns. I do not dispute your characterization of the current state of affairs with regard to a controversial issues policy. Can you guarantee me that if same-sex marriage is the law of the land, it will still be considered controversial? Guarantee me into the future.
Guarantee me this ends at 2 o'clock?
No, it's not in my control.
So if
Well,
can I personally guarantee
You're
you?
saying it's not going to make any changes at all, and I'm saying in the future, can you guarantee when same-sex marriage is passed that it will still remain under the domain of controversial policies, number one? And number two, if it still remains under controversial issue policies, isn't that in and of itself discrimination because it is a prejudiced view of an alternative lifestyle that's now the law of the land?
I don't know if she has the authority to make those.
Well, she made statements. Okay, are you familiar with California Senate Bill 48?
I am not familiar with California Senate Bill 48.
Would you be surprised to learn that when you're in art music class and you talk about one of these famous composers, if he's a homosexual, that needs to be underscored and highlighted as part of his accomplishments? Are you aware of that?
I don't see how this has any bearing on this actual piece of legislation that doesn't actually even write that in there. I mean, what I can tell you, so you asked before, and actually I will speak to this.
Okay.
But
Excuse me? Yeah, hold on. I think at this point in time, you folks need to just agree to disagree.
Okay, I'm done questioning. Thank you very much.
No,
Charlie, can I make one point?
No.
You sure?
Okay,
Really?
Thank you, yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? If not, why don't we take...
Chair,
Representative
is the
Moore.
other DOE teacher, not, there was a teacher of the DOE who said she was a teacher. She may or may not still be here. It was quite some time ago.
Was there a...
No, someone's just raised their hand.
Yeah,
A teacher
they just
from the
raised their
DOE.
hand.
You have a question. Please go to the podium. Education is not in the bill, but if we listen to the testimony, Madam Chair, I would say the preponderance of themes other than religious freedom was the family and their children.
Okay, you can ask her a
So
question.
to say that this would be out of order, I think is missing the point. My question is this. In the DOE, have you ever had an opt-out option in any controversial subject, even though there is such a policy of controversial subjects? Have you ever asked or know people who've actually exercised that right, whether it's abstinence and other sort of creationism versus...
I can tell you as a parent, I opted my children out of sex education for one of my 6th graders. However, my mother works at the school that they attend, and she told me that my daughter was in the class and she walked by and she heard the conversation about sex ed going on. So I was a bit appalled after that, and after my mom caught that, my daughter sat on the side for the rest of the classes and did nothing. That's what happened, as far as my experience.
What parents and some of us on the panel are trying to ascertain, what is the probability that the DOE will keep with its opt-out policy, will maintain the integrity of giving parents the option? And if you're a teacher, if you wanted to opt out, would you be able to do the same?
As far as opt-out,
of teaching a controversial subject?
I'm not sure if I'm able to opt out, and I would hope that the DOE would honor all those parents that choose to opt out. However, in my case, I saw that it wasn't honored.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chair.
Any other questions?
I have a quite same
Representative McDermott?
teacher. Thank you. HSTA has signed on with marriage equality. I don't believe they've submitted any testimony in support, but their public utterances have been in support of marriage equality. It's on the flyers, the brochures, they're waving signs in Y&I. If, as a teacher, you would like to opt out, would you expect them to vigorously defend your right to opt out once this becomes the law of the land?
I would expect them to do that. Could I also share that I received an email a couple of weeks when the special session was known, and the wording was very like a double negative, and I truly couldn't understand what it was saying, but I came to the conclusion that it was we support same-sex marriage, and I replied with an email in the same tone, a manner. I'm like, if you're saying what I think you're saying, then I think I need a new union. That's what I said. And then they responded with an email saying, well, basically they didn't understand what I meant, and they sent me an email about this is what our union is about.
Well, thank you for your clarity, and thank you so much for your work with our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? If not, thank you, testifiers. We'll take the next set. Please come up.
I'm number 4255. My name is Diana Yamada, and I oppose this bill. I want to shed light on the Oregon versus Smith Supreme Court decision that was mentioned earlier. Smith and Black were fired because they got loaded on peyote, an illegal drug, claiming peyote was part of their religious beliefs and First Amendment rights. They tried to collect unemployment. The U.S. Supreme Court decided that religious practices couldn't be used to claim First Amendment free exercise rights to violate unbiased state laws protecting the state's interests. Earlier, there was an attorney implying that this decision can broadly be applied to us here today. I think there is a big difference between ingesting peyote and the Christian belief that Jesus paid for our sins and wants us to live free from sin. This is the foundation of our First Amendment right. 2 thoughts on sin. There has been incorrect analysis brought forth earlier by referencing past minority civil rights victories where the majority would not have voted for the minority civil rights. These became righteous laws because they were God-sanctioned civil rights, unlike SB1. Christians hurt when we sin. The body of Christ is full of sinners, adulterers, and liars. Yet Jesus calls us to live a life without sin. Impossible, but we keep trying because we know our trying pleases God. We love God, and we know when we sin, Jesus weeps and feels our pain. What saddens us is that you seem to listen to the hurt of the LGBT, yet you are not listening to the fact that we hurt when we sin. To pass this bill is to say to Christians, the hurt of the 1% is greater than the hurt and the pain of most Christians, and that you don't believe we hurt when we sin. It's bad enough that the people don't believe in you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me testify.
Thank you. Next up.
Before I start, can I ask the presence of the rest of the legislation to be present? The reason why I ask is because I represent the Kamehamehas. I am a lineal heir to Kamehameha I, Paea, the Conqueror, son of Kamehameha VI. So I would like my voice to be heard to everybody.
Well, some of them are watching from the monitors.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Please go ahead.
My name is Austin Lorenzo, number 1291. To everyone gathered here, I greet you all, aloha. I believe in the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, Jesus, who gave his life for my sins. I love everyone in their own right, in accordance to their own prerogative. To each its own. I am married to a beautiful woman and father to 6 children. I coach football and soccer, and I always tell them, give eye contact. When somebody is speaking, give eye contact. Look at them so they know you're paying attention. I am also son to recognize Kamehameha VI and lineal heir to Paea, the Conqueror, Kamehameha I, with substantial evidence that needs to be considered. Case in point, civil case number CV 1300568, KSC. Kamehameha VI, petitioner as co-joiner petitioner, United States of America versus State of Hawaii, Governor Neil Abercrombie, John Jane Doe's 1 through 50. Petition in mention, reconciliation for the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom. As we seek resolution of our Hawaiian government, its lands, its people, and its well-being, this bill cannot be passed. We appeal to you, do not make haste, rash decisions. As for far too long, we have been oppressed, ignored, and misrepresented. Let us remain to be cordial while killing this bill. This is not a peaceful bill. It's against our very morals and values that has been instilled from generation to generation. It is a choice and should remain as such.
Thank you very much. Next up.
Good afternoon. My name is David Hudgens, number 3274. I oppose SB1. I've been in Hawaii for the last 4.5 years. I did 12 years of the Navy serving here in Pearl Harbor area. I never thought our purpose and intent for living in this life would be challenged by the creation and not the creator. Whatever happened to establishing your identity in Christ? Whatever happened to it, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Traditional marriage is a balance between the homosexual community by choice and those that believe in the faith. You don't get rewarded for disobedience. We're chasing a dream of benefits right now to support a community of people that are denying their very existence through the blood of the Lamb. You want to change your way of life over benefits? Well, the rest of us will suffer. Are we willing to sacrifice that? Marriage is not an idea in the mind. Marriage represents the covenant between a man and a woman with God. Everything that we are moving towards as a state and as a nation says natural process. What can 2 men and 2 women naturally produce and promote life here in Hawaii to replenish the earth? The next agenda that's on the line is what we're ignoring. Thereafter, this is what we're not facing, what we're not willing to accept. Some homosexuals believe we actually hate them, and we do not hate them. And I think I speak fairly for every Christian. We only hate the sin that they're choosing to live in, that's driving them to deface the divine purpose of marriage and the image of family, all because they have their own agenda, motives, and intents, as if God made a mistake. Even worse, he does not exist. The same love we share in our Christian faith with each other is the same love we desire to give to you, so that we can live righteous for a right us. Unity here in Hawaii. The opposite of what SB1 is and will be. This bill doesn't make us a better Hawaii. It won't bring balance. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Labadorf. My testimony number is 1055. I am opposed to Senate Bill 1. I'm a mother of 3 beautiful children, an active duty military wife, and a Christian. With the little time that it leaves me, I also volunteer in my Hawaiian community of Waipahu, my military community, and my church at New Hope Leeward. I have made multiple trips to the Capitol this week because this issue means so much to me. This is the first time I have spoken publicly on any issue, and I've chosen to speak on this because it's an issue that has moved me so much. To begin, let me first start by reaching out to the LGBT community. My opposition to this bill is not about denying you your right to love and happiness. The world has enough obstacles to choose things, to those such things, and I am not a supporter of that. For those of you who would say that my church and religious beliefs mandate my opposition, I will tell you I am a free-thinking Christian who is not afraid to stand up for what I believe is right. In addition, I am not blind to the possibility that one of my children may decide to live a non-traditional lifestyle. I will love them no less. I respectfully ask you all to take the moment and think about the state of our nation. Our nation is mired in debt. Most citizens have developed a deep mistrust of our publicly elected officials. Worst of all, most Americans are beginning to believe our nation's past is brighter than its future. Something is wrong. This is not the America that my husband signed up to defend. This is not the America I love so much. The citizens of Hawaii should be given the right to vote on this extremely sensitive issue. Our Constitution depends on it. Moving freedom forward should not come at the expense of freedoms that already exist. Traditional American values are slowly being sacrificed by demands for equality, by an increasing number of contemporary lifestyles. Where does it end? We are too great of a nation to lower ourselves to the level of this special session. Anything less than a citizen's vote on Senate Bill 1 is unacceptable. Vote no on Senate Bill 1. Thank you, chairpersons.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Luke. My number is 3252, and my name is Catherine Kupuka. Thank you, Chair Luke, for letting us go a third round. I oppose Senate Bill 1. Please respect and honor the constituents that you serve in the various districts in the state of Hawaii. You are one individual, and your opinion is just that. This issue is so important that the pastor of our church's sermon on September 21st was on this issue. In my humble opinion, this bill will have a negative impact on the state of Hawaii, and I cannot imagine the damage to our society and how the future generations will suffer. God's law supersedes man's law. My final plea to you is to ask God for wisdom in making the right decision in allowing the people to vote on this. Let the land heal and God bless this paradise, as we all know. My grandfather's cousin is Kyuzo Toyama, who is known as the father of immigration from Okinawa. Both my grandfathers came to work in Hawaii, and later on, both my grandmothers came as picture brides. I do not know if there was love in this union at the start of their marriage. However, love and caring for each other must have grown.
Thank you very much. And thanks for returning. I know you were the person who were going to testify next when we broke last night. Thank you. Next up.
Hi, my name is Carmi Langkay. My number is 2267. From what I've heard, the concerns of those who wanted this SB1 approved is the benefit and to get married. Instead of pursuing this law for that reason, why not revise the reciprocal beneficiary benefit to cover their partner and adopted children? Also, I've heard that some churches are willing to marry them, so why not go to that and get married then to those churches? But don't force all of us to embrace and accept this. Does any of you who voted yes to this bill study or did any research of what kind of risks, consequences, and effect that we will be facing in the future? What's the rush? This law will have a big effect in our education, business, job, churches, and in every individual person. If this law is approved, am I protected as individual? Worst come to worst, do you have any backup plan to kill or revise this law? What is the limits of this SB1? I'm sure you are all well aware individuals will be sued speaking, or if we get gross out seeing them kissing in public places. Use your heart and conscience before passing this law. To the representatives who voted yes, my question is, why do you want to pursue this? Is this just all about politics? What kind of leaders do we have? A leader who follows God's law and have fear with our God, or a foolish leader who follows the ways of this world to benefit the few? They said SB1 is an equal right, but violating our rights as a person is okay. I urge you to consider my rights as well and shield people like me from costly litigation. I want to remind again that SB has not a single word to protect my individual rights.
Next up, please.
My name is Eric Paulo, number 4026. I'm opposing the SB1 369 or similar bills for 3 reasons. The bill which is being considered is too broadly worded, specifically in religious exemption language. It doesn't lay out a specific provision to protect a religious organization. They want to keep the same-sex marriage from occurring in their facility or on their premises due to their belief or tenant faith. Second, because the content of this bill will affect every family and citizen of Hawaii, all the people of Hawaii should have a chance to vote through referendum. Third, the tradition of marriage being between one man and one woman has been the bedrock of our American culture and the foundation of stability of countless of civilization in all major religions of this world. Is there a reason for this? I think so. I oppose this bill because it will infringe upon the for freedom protected under the First Amendment and will have a far-reaching consequence. Thus, nobody seems to be discussing whatever it is freedom of speech, education, or employment. This bill would impact our future and forever change our history, custom, and culture. Finally, we voted on a constitutional amendment in 1998, giving the legislature the power to limit the marriage between the opposite sex couples. The only legitimate way is change the opposite, is to let the people vote. Thank you for your time. Thank you for testifying this matter.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Hi, my name is Rob Gross, and I'm number 4207. I'm a 49-year resident of Kaneohe and a pastor in that community. I really don't want to address this from a religious perspective or moral perspective, but rather from the perspective of a father and a father-in-law and a future, hopefully, grandfather one day. I was at the dinner table the other night, and I was asking my brand new daughter-in-law, who's a part of the DOE, so-and-so, what would you do if in the future this bill is passed and it's mandated that you teach certain curriculum that would, be in sync with the law? And she said, oh, immediately I would quit the DOE, I would tutor on the side, I would pull my son or daughter back, and I would begin to homeschool them. And my heart sank. And the reason why my heart sank is because she's put in 4 years of getting her BA, almost 2 years finishing up her master's, and here she is faced with a decision that's going to change her career and deny her passion. Now, I realize that that's her decision, as it would be the decision of many, but I wonder if you have thought through carefully how many teachers in the DOE are going to have to face this decision, and they're going to remove themselves from the DOE, and there's going to be a drain of teachers. Our people are our greatest resource in this state. Also, when teachers or parents begin to withdraw their children from public schools, the schools are going to get less money. So I really, encourage you to hold off on passing this bill, as obviously I stand for traditional marriage and I'm opposed to SB1. Vote your conscience. Think through what is going to happen in the future in our state to our keiki, to our teachers, to our resources. I've even heard of people that are thinking of moving out of the islands now. And again, that's their choice, but this is really something we need to think more about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please come up.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Leslie Among. Some of you might know me for being on the Waikiki Neighborhood Board for 17 years with some of that with my colleague there, Tom Brower. Others know me as an entertainer in town. I was the former guitarist for Bruno Mars, and he's my good friend. Thanks to him, I'm in the Grammy Awards this year in the nomination process.
And your number is? And your number?
My number is 3248.
Thank you.
What I really want to talk about today is there's 2 things involved with this bill that I'm for traditional marriage and preserving that. The thing with the traditional marriage, preserving traditional marriage and the freedom of the voters to vote on this. These are 2 things that are rolling across our country right now. Our freedoms are being taken away in different states, on different levels, in different issues. This issue is very important in Hawaii, in preserving the freedoms and not having just what people are saying, a godlike religion, voted politicians voting for the people that are saying that they don't want to participate in this. Another thing that worries me is some of the religious organizations that are being demonized because they don't want to participate in this. This is something that you have to think through clearly. I ask all the politicians here today to think this through and think about the main thing. The freedom of the people to vote on this is probably the most important thing. Some of them, which they couldn't make it because they're working and they're having a rough time working, which you all know. Our economy isn't exactly at its best now, not just here, but all over the country. People are at work that wanted to participate that couldn't even come here to testify. I ask you to think this clearly and let the vote of the people decide this instead of a bunch of politicians that some of which people think already made up their minds.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next up,
Aloha.
please.
Aloha and mahalo. My number is 4019. My name is Stephanie Kahn. I stand on the written testimony that includes two primary concerns on SB1, which are, speaking plainly, the process is flawed. It's just been a blatant use, actually a misuse of legislation, aggressive and disrespectful. First, in terms of Governor Abercrombie forcing a special session on everyone in this room and outside, knowing the contention and the grueling hearings that would be placed upon us. That was his decision. Also being truthful, the language of the bill is inadequate as is regarding the religious exemptions. Currently, of the union, just 14 states and Washington, D.C. have legalized same-sex marriage, and they have broad exemptions. Not this bill. As is, churches and other religious groups don't want the holes in the law that places them at risk for lawsuits. And there is litigation in the language as is. Legislators, you must help prevent this now, not after. Thirdly, I want to add that these hearings have helped me come to be aware and identify the ramifications appear problematic and unknown regarding the bloodline for Hawaiians in the language of SD1, Section 572C, that has been quoted several times, but I thank all of you that brought that to my attention as a Hawaiian. This is regarding the parentage, presumptions, love those legal terms. Very hard, but there they are. And I just want to remind all of us that there is no place like Hawaii. This is a special place. The land, the food, the music, the lifestyle. This is why we love this place. But it really, what makes Hawaii is the people. Yes, Hawaiians, but also all of us. And I know that God put something special here.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, please.
My name's Paul, number 4875, born in Kailua. And I stand in opposition not just to the SB1 bill, but to the actually Supreme Court Justice decision. You see, we need to change our view of what we're looking at as individual rights. This is not individual rights. This is speaking about benefits that are attached to marriage, which has responsibilities. And that's how we need to change the look of this thing. You see, some rights are bestowed equally because we're human beings, but marriage comes with responsibilities. Those responsibilities include faithfulness to your spouse to the rest of your life, having children, raising them to be strong, teaching your children how to be good citizens. You know, the reason why we have this issue with homosexuals is because we have failed as heterosexual families. We have not stood for what families are meant to be. It's because of broken families. It's because of the way that we have not respected. You know, I forgot my ring today, and I'm married. And it was a symbol because we heterosexuals have given up that right and we have the privilege to get married, and what do? We leave it behind, and then it leaves them to pick up where we left off. You see, we need to change our view of seeing it as civil rights. But it's benefits that come with responsibilities, and if we don't put responsibilities in front of that, you're going to have people lining up and getting licenses for the fact of benefits. We need to change this from not being benefits. I mean, change it from being like the old welfare system. This is not the old welfare system where people just come and get benefits. People will go up for the right reasons, and people will go up for the wrong reasons.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next up, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Chantal Augustin, and my number is 3664. Now, this first part of my testimonial is from my fiance. She states, we are only asking for an equality for all the people in the world. Gays, lesbians, transgender, and the bisexual are all humans. Just like an ordinary man and woman, we all know how to fall in love and dream to have our own family, and of course, get married and be accepted by the world. Is that a bad thing? Many high profiles in the world belongs to this circle. All we want is just for the community where we belong, raise a good person for the next generation. Just like a normal individual, we are all created with an equal rights, and we deserve to be happy with the person we love the most. Now here's my testimonial. Look around us. We're all living beings. We all have a soul. We connect with someone emotionally and spiritually, and that's how we have that feel of love for that one another. Yes, we do have love for our family and whatnot, but there's only that one special person that we could give our all to the most. And I'm very glad that I have my fiance, and I am in the process of bringing her over here, and it'll be an honor of you folks to approve the SB1 bill. It means so much to me, and I really do love my fiance so much. I'm sorry, but just love one another, please. Peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up.
Good afternoon. I'm Lola Cow, assigned number 3283, and I have been here every day for the past week, and I am amazed at the amount of people who have gotten out of their comfort zones to come here to testify in opposition of this bill. Look around you and see how many of the community throughout Hawaii are so worried and concerned that you may pass this bill. You have woken up a sleeping giant. Why is it being rushed in such a short time? Time should be given to discuss, to debate, and to learn more about this bill. My brother and I are building a boat, and whenever we try to work things out for the correct pipe, for the right kind of fittings, we always have to look at the details of whatever we're doing, because we don't want to go out to sea and drown or have big waves turn our boat over. He always said the devil is in the details. I say that here. We are going to be embarking on a voyage once we pass this bill. Do we know the devil in the details? Do we really understand what this bill will impact us with negatively? I'm a retired teacher, public school teacher of 35 years, and I am very concerned at how it will impact. I hear people saying that it won't impact. Teachers know they'll be able to do what they, no. HSTA is one of the largest unions in the state, and they represent the state. Now, I know they will be forced to teach things that will be handed down to them, but I know the DOE is not prepared from experience. They don't have definite guidelines. They don't have the structure and materials to be taught. Give us time to discuss and vote as people on this important issue. I believe in equality, but it must be equality for all. Stop. Remove this burden from your shoulders and invite the people to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, please.
I'm a pregnant mother of 8, wife, and a DOE teacher, a citizen who votes in this state, and my name is Sherry. My number is 3286. Over the past few days, I've written about 3 or 4 different speeches hitting on points that I would like to have addressed, brought up by many that are in support of the bill. However, something has come to my attention, and I feel that it is more important for me to bring up. I wonder if you are familiar with Senate Resolution SCR 166. SCR 166 was passed in the Senate on April 1st, 2013. It provides for a study of the impact of same-sex marriage on Hawaii, on the economy, government, social, family, religions, and education. Why are we going ahead with the same-sex bill when this study has not yet been done? I say kill Bill SB1 until SCR 166 could be completed and give the legislature the data required to make informed decisions. We've heard that it's not a rush, that it's been a long time coming. Well, I'd rather be proactive in my decision making than reactive. I believe that if we take the time to allow this study to be done, we can make a decision that will be best for the citizens of Hawaii. I also want to say that HSTA is the union that represents me, but they are not representing us with their support for this bill. They did not ask us teachers how we felt about this bill before they came out and said they supported it. I see my time ticking, and I have a million more things to say. All I want to say is, as a teacher, there's supposed to be a separation of church and state, and I don't want to be forced to teach someone else's religion and call it education.
Thank you. Next up, please.
Vote no.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Roland Ho, number 5002, and I strongly oppose this bill. I'm a son, a nephew, a brother, a father, and a grandfather. I have an uncle who is gay, a sister who is a lesbian, and a daughter who believes she is bisexual. Though I do not agree with their lifestyle, I love each and every one of them with all my heart, as I do others who choose to live a lifestyle contrary to what God designed it to originally be, which is a union between a man and a woman. We know this because that is what the Word of God says in Genesis 2 and Ephesians 5. It says, therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. I personally know these words because it was the words I spoke to God and my wife 8 years ago today. Marriage is not a right. It is a covenant between a man and a woman, not only to each other, but to God. I always tell my children, there are small decisions you must make every day, like brushing your teeth, getting out of bed, and there are big, life-changing decisions you must make, like who you plan on spending the rest of your life with. The small decisions, they affect the course of your day. The life-changing decisions affect the course of your life. This is a life-changing decision for the state of Hawaii. I urge you to make the right decision and vote no on SB1. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Before you go on, all the testifiers that signed up are in the room right now. I think after we are done with this group, we are going to recess for decision making. I think it would be fair for me to announce that, okay, we will be cutting off after this, because otherwise we can just wait around for people to come, but I think there is nobody else in line, and then everyone who wants to testify is in here. Is that correct? Okay, thank you very much. So the last person in line will be the last testifier, and we wanted to thank all the testifiers for being with us for the last 5 days. So please go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Kyle Grace, and my number is 5,167. So, whew, I made it. And I truly, truly want to thank each and every one of you, no matter what side you're on, for giving me back my voice, for schooling the governor and the Senate on what real democracy really looks like. I truly thank you for restoring my faith in the democratic process. So to get on to my business, though, I'm here to try and protect my 6 grandchildren who will be hugely and negatively impacted if this bill is to pass. I am not here against anyone. I supported civil unions because I do not believe in discriminating against anyone, but that anyone includes the majority on the other side as well. We all know the very real long-term consequences of this bill. They cannot be denied. This is not uncharted territory. This is not, our fears are not speculations. They're for real. We know full well that if this bill becomes law, it will take the sexual preferences of one group to hammer away at the First Amendment rights of the other group. Sexual preference is not a civil right. It does not rise to the level of a 14th Amendment protected right. And just because Lady Gaga says you're born this way, that doesn't make it true. And the jury is still out on that. The governor and Senate president make nice speeches about extending aloha to all. I would like to ask the governor and the Senate president, where is the aloha and protections for our teachers who can't teach what they believe is a lie? Where is the protection for judges who would be violating their religious principles if they perform these marriages? Where is the aloha for small business owners who have neither the time nor the resources to fight the deep pockets of the LGBT? What happens to the nonprofits and hundreds of churches who rent from our public schools on weekends? And most importantly, where are the protections for all the children of Hawaii not to participate in what is essentially...
Thank you very much.
So I challenge you to please teach us, show us what is extending aloha to all.
Next up, please.
Aloha, my name is James Dooley, number 2984. Grateful to be here, to be able to testify. I oppose SB1 for a few reasons. The first one is the lack of protection for religious organizations. The lack of protection for religious organizations. Also, I definitely believe in God completely. I think He's our Heavenly Father. We have organizations here on earth to reflect God's laws. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. We have also laws that protect our families. We were put here in families for a reason. There is a intelligent design behind that. And if we think we can think better than our Heavenly Father about it, then we're wrong. The right way to do it is through families, to perpetuate families through heterosexual marriages. You cannot perpetuate a same-sex marriage. Therefore, our government should not recognize it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, please.
Hello, my name is Yazi Nye. My number is 5055. I'm here to represent my whole family here. My husband, my 16-year-old daughter, and my 14-year-old son. If my daughter was here, she's in school now, she will tell you her story as a young Christian already be persecuted in her class. When the whole class, during a class, when the student will ask it, who's against the same-sex marriage, there are only 3 students raise up their hands out of 30 students. And after that class, she was attacked by a lot of her classmates by saying that she's not understanding or not acceptive. But a lot of friends told her, we dare not to raise up our hands because of the peer pressure. And the other 2 students told her, because you raise up your hand, we are encouraged. So I know that gay people, they claim they were born with that, sexual orientation. I'm not going to argue with that statement, even though I don't believe it. I'm a medical nurse. But I know we are all sinners. We are all born with sinful nature. That we teach our children to be honest, but they lie. We teach them to share, but they are selfish. We are born with our sinful nature. But we didn't pass any law to make lying legalized. Are we expecting if this law passed in the future, we are gonna face the fight that we should let the lying to be legalized because that's our nature. We are born with that. In terms of at the final day, in facing my Lord, I'm not going to be part of that sin.
Thank you very
I urge you
much.
to do the same thing.
Okay, next up, please.
Aloha, my name is Aaliyah Herman. I am 4923, and I'm testifying today as a private citizen. People have talked a lot about children here today, and I hope that someday I can tell my children that I was here when Hawaii was part of history, and when we said it's okay to be different, all families matter, all families count, and what matters is love and taking care of each other. And I hope there's a time when my kids are shocked that this was ever even a question, because what we teach, what we believe here in Hawaii is taking care of each other. And I felt the same way in 1998 when I was 19 years old. And I'd like to just read the letter to the editor that I wrote and was published at the time. And it says, "We try to teach children that they should appreciate and respect each other, no matter what race, religion, or gender. We teach them to love people regardless of economic standing or various disabilities. We want them to value differences and individuality. Teaching our children to respect people of a different sexual orientation seems to be the next logical step. Why should equality apply only to race, to gender, to religion? The lesson learned from the past is not equality only among the races or the genders, but simply equality." I was a 19-year-old college student, and since that time, that was what my heart told me. That's what my heart always told me. And have countless friends and family who have built families with their gay and straight partners, who have been incredible parents. And I just hope that they have the same opportunities that I have, that so many of us have. And I hope that, thank you to all of you who are courageous and stand on the right side of history. And today, although Hawaii didn't have the chance to be the first, we could have been the first in 1998, we could be the 16th. The Illinois state is about to become the 15th state to legalize gay marriage, and I hope Hawaii can be next.
Thank you. Next up.
Thank you.
Aloha. My name is David Henkin. My number is 3027, and I'm testifying in strong support of marriage equality. I am straight. For the last 16 years, I've been married to a woman, and together we've been blessed with 2 wonderful children. So you might ask yourself, why have I come down to the legislature? Gosh, I think it's been about a half dozen or more times over the last week to try and testify, hoping that I got the system right and I would be able to testify. You know, I'm a member of the dominant sexual orientation. I have all my state and federal rights. I should be good, but I'm not. And I'm not because I participate in an institution that discriminates. And when we have discrimination, it diminishes all of us. You know, my wife and I were together for 7 years before we finally decided to get married. And it wasn't because we weren't committed to one another. We were. We registered as domestic partners in California. It's that we didn't want to participate in a discriminatory institution, and we felt that deeply. It's sort of like being a white person at a whites-only counter in the segregated South. You might get served your food, but it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And so I've been doing everything I can ever since to try and advocate for equality, and I urge you to do the same, and now you have that opportunity. And I urge that not only for myself and for my wife, but for my 2 children. My kids are too young to have started dating, thank goodness. But when they do, I don't know if they're going to be gay or straight. All I hope is that when they enter into a loving relationship, and I hope that they will find someone to love and who loves them, that when they enter into that loving relationship, this state, our state, will not discriminate against their relationship. Please pass SB1.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up.
Hello, my name is Susie Roth, and my number is 3058. And I've been at home for most of the time listening to the testimonies online, and I just thought I had to get down here. I'm a mother, I'm of 4 children, I'm a spouse, and I'm a grandmother of 3 children. And in 1998, I voted against gay marriage, or whatever it was called at that time. But I have learned a lot since then. One of our boys came out, and it's kind of like an evolution. And that is what I'm hoping for our state, to kind of learn and see that gay people, straight people, we all have a sexual orientation. That's as important to understand ourselves and to understand others and appreciate their point of view. Now, I'm a teacher, and I have to, well, I won't go there. But anyway, I'm also a magician and also Catholic. And so I pray that we will come together on this. And like I said, in 1998, I was in the dark. I didn't understand what sexual orientation was. But now, 1, 2, 3, I see the light, and I hope you do too. Mahalo.
Next up, please.
Hi, my name is Tatsuyuki Kobayashi, and my number is 4862. I think I'm the last guy.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, my time started already. Okay. I was born and raised here in Honolulu, Hawaii. I went to Nu'uanu Elementary School. I went to Hawaii Baptist Academy, all in your district. My kids also in Roosevelt right now, my daughter. Okay. I kind of looked, I have an older brother who's gay, a sister that contracted HIV through unprotected sex. She actually went to the blood bank and found out when she donated during September 11th that she had contracted this HIV virus. So it goes either way, okay? So what I'm trying to say is I went into the Webster's dictionary, and it says equal is the same number, amount, degree, rank, quality, having the same mathematical value, not changing the same for each person. Balance. Balance means a state at which difference things occur in equal or proper amounts or have equal or proper amount of importance. Okay, so you folks are already aware that the blood bank, they ask you a questionnaire, 1977, you have sex with another male, no good. Okay, same thing with blood donor registry, same thing with organ transplant. You cannot, males cannot. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that when I spoke to that lady from China, the economist, she said with that one child thing in China, there's 20% less girls in China, and with the 20% less, in Hawaii, we're talking about 600,000. In America, we're talking about 330 million. In China, we're talking billions. That's a big difference. Something's not gonna work. Just like in the plumbing industry as well as electricity, you need a male and a female. Yeah, plumbing, male and female. You're gonna change that industry too? I don't think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, we will take questions. Okay, we will take questions. If not, thank you very much. Thank you to the audience and the members for your patience for a 5-day hearing. I think both Chair Rhodes and I and all the members in the legislature appreciate all the time that you have taken. At this point in time, we will recess for decision making. We will return.
Madam Chair?
Yes?
I indicated earlier, I know it'd be a fruitful and fruitless effort, but I'd like to make a motion to recess for 5 days to go back to our districts. Any committees, you don't need a second, so.
Unfortunately, that's not something that I'm authorized to do because I don't have that authority.
Understood.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all for coming. I know that it can be a very frustrating experience to wait for days and days to get to talk for 2 minutes. And we realize that the problem is when you have 5,000 people who want to, scheduling for 5,000 people is a very difficult task too. So we've done our best to accommodate everyone, and it was good to hear from all of you. I did just want to say thanks to my staff. 2 of my staff who are sitting over here. There's been a lot of talk about people getting paid and not. They're volunteering to do this, and they've been here for some unbelievable number of hours. My other staff do get paid, but they've also been here for an unbelievable number of hours, and I want to thank them too. And finance staff, Sheriff's Department, Sergeant-at-Arms, clerks, everyone who's been involved. So thank you so much, and we'll see you at 3.
3 o'clock. We'll be back at 3 o'clock. If it lasts longer than 3 p.m.
Chair?
Wait, hold on.
Chair.
Okay.
Chair. Oh, okay. Yes.
Can we thank the minority staff for
I'm
their
sorry.
above and
I thought I
beyond
included
what
them.
they've
Yes,
done
thank you for
all
the
time and
minority
duty
staff
that
as
they've
well.
done. For the minority staff, thank you guys. Appreciate it. It's good. And Chair, the other question is, should the public come, wait? What's the instructions to the people who are waiting? Should they be, we're going to come back here or we're going to make a decision some other place?
No, we're coming back here at 3.
Okay, back here
so
at 3.
If you would like to witness the vote, you're welcome to come back.
Thank you, Chair.
Assuming we can fit everybody who wants to get in, we're not going to violate the fire department's rules. So.
Chair.
Yes, Representative Tokioka.
As well as the minority staff, there were other members of this committee that staff came down to volunteer.
That's a good
so
point.
can we thank them as well?
Yes, thank you so much. Really, we all appreciate your efforts for a marathon session. I think it's probably the longest hearing ever in the history of Hawaii. So, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we're in recess until 3.